Okay. Can I pop? I think I can pop this up. That's cool. That's perfect. Cool. Okay. You want to go back on the video, Kiora? Now's the only chance you're gonna get. See you eyeing me. Okay, Pop. Come on, real quick. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. There we go. All right. I have no idea how I missed this. But probably has something to do with the fact that I never heard of Papa Gut. But it's weird that they now recommend it to me, but didn't recommend it to me back then. I just saw this on my YouTube pop up. It's like, oh, what is this? And I watched like maybe like 30 seconds of it, like a minute at most, and I was like, oh, give me 1 minute. Yeah. You okay? What happened? You okay, Bob? I thought I heard my dog do a big cry. Got all freaked out. Um, yeah, so I've never heard of Papa Gut. I watched just enough to tell if he was like pro or like anti Mr. Girl in this, because the video is titled "The Manipulation of Mr. Girl," so that could really go either way. Well, I'm kind of curious. Pardon me. I don't know what game he's playing.
I mean,
Looks like a mobile game.
I don't even know what to say after we watched that thing. That was insane. Mr. Girl, you know, listen, people make mistakes. I get it. I do. I understand. People make mistakes. And I understand the idea of like being able to have a space to grow and learn and be a better person. Mr. Girl's just not somebody who can do that. He just cannot do that. Like when he talks about all the past things he's done wrong, there's absolutely nothing in his voice or in his tone that communicates any empathy at all. Not even fake empathy.
It's
Right?
such
And
a
you shouldn't
wild
fake
take
it,
to
but
me.
it's like he doesn't even pretend to care. He's a bad person fundamentally. Yeah, he laughs about it. He's
a
very
bad
egotistical.
person fundamentally.
He's a bad person. And like
I feel like people that make claims like that are uh, not very good judges of character. Say that somebody is fundamentally a bad person. Because what's this based on? Like his assumptions based on Mr. Girl's actions? That's really weird. Um, it kind of makes me wonder if I'm gonna come to the conclusion by the end of this that this is like purely just like a shit on Mr. Girl for like clout video.
you know, frankly, he really doesn't belong like in any space. Not even, I'm not talking about the internet. I mean, in general. You can extrapolate a meaning from there if you want, but you know,
Jesus Christ, what a piece of shit.
he just says he shouldn't be. He certainly shouldn't be like doing anything. And he has a lot of devout followers who identify with him, and I think it's disgusting. You know, like we criticize like the high value man sphere, but I mean, this is beyond anything. This is like a sphere of abuse that he's generating. So
I'm very interested to hear the justification for this.
Apparently not at the
I feel
beginning.
happy with the resolution
What is how? Why?
because I got what I wanted.
Yeah, but do you feel like she got what she wanted?
No,
Why?
why not?
You know, it was something that was really interesting when I was talking to my wife about.
I didn't know that this was gonna be him reacting like this. I didn't mean to necessarily go into like a meta react.
This. She watched my segment when I watched the video. This Mr. Girl with his girlfriend. My wife was like, my wife was saying she's like, you know what really bothered? Like, what's interesting is he's putting her in a situation where they need to like sign like a contract, like an engagement, right? They're talking about how he wants to like sleep with her, and she just pretends like she's a doll.
Oh, he watched the doll review.
She's like, you know. She's like, I know you said it was an interesting conversation, but she's like, you know what really bothers me is the fact that he's forcing her to make an agreement, and it seems like he doesn't want that she can't back out of, and that's not how consent works, especially.
No, she already agreed. He just wanted her to pick how the time was.
Especially when it comes to like sex. Like, you cannot create a scenario where, like, okay, if you're saying you'll do this, you'll have an arrangement once a month now, you can't back out of that. That's not how it works. You know, part of, like, proper consent is...
I don't think that's what he did. Never said she can't back out. He just wanted her to establish the timing. Thank you for the cool hat comment. I'm trying really hard to figure out how to pronounce your name. Ataraxia? Okay. Thank you.
The ability to remove it whenever you want. That doesn't make anything beforehand non-consensual.
Pardon me.
But, sorry, I like blanked out. It doesn't make anything beforehand non-consensual, but you can say like, I don't want this anymore, and you instantly stop, and you're done. And like, he doesn't seem like there's any space for that.
Wait.
It's crazy.
You say it doesn't seem like there's any space for that. That would be something that could only be read into by the two in that circumstance, right? Because he certainly didn't say you can't take it back or anything like that. So I guess Mr. Girl's evil based on this guy's inference. Oh, cool. I'm glad I got it right.
Because it seems like she's having a lot of trouble emotionally.
Sorry. What did he say? Inherently, an inherently bad person because of his inference of that, which, knowing what happened afterwards and how Shaylin felt about it, certainly doesn't seem to be that way.
Processing everything going around this event.
Yes, and whose problem is that?
Both of yours.
No, I still contest your overall view.
Why wouldn't you be
As unresolved, and that Shaylin said no. She said yes, and I got what I wanted, and I feel like this is a victory.
I don't think that should be the goal.
Okay, let me be clear. When I call Shaylin controlling, my problem was not her saying no, because she didn't say no. She didn't say yes. She didn't say no. She didn't say yes to the conversation. She didn't say no to the conversation.
Yeah, okay.
She just leaves me in this hell.
Yeah. So what do you think is happening? What do you think is the problem? It's pretty simple, I think. Maximus, Max, hello.
I know Destiny's gonna reiterate that point throughout this, but one of the things that's really weird to me is taking that stand that Destiny takes when Destiny has repeatedly said many, many times that you can't see a conversation between two people and know what they mean when they say things, because without knowing the style of their relationship, the same words can mean totally different things. Some things that would be really bad to say to one person would be totally fine to say to somebody else because of the type of relationship they have. So I don't really remember a whole lot about what Destiny says here, but I hope he doesn't stick to that too strongly, because he very clearly understands that there's a lot of nuance when two people who have been in a relationship for a long time saying certain things to each other.
Thanks, David.
How are you maxing today? You're living your maximum.
Bro, this is the thing that really bothers me. I understand Destiny's going through like his villain arc because he's been banned and he has like a lot of friends that are like conservatives, whatever, like who cares? I don't understand. I understand for the sake of a conversation being like relatively cordial, but like, oh, Max, like Max, how you doing, Max? It's like, why are you acting so friendly to a person who is like he's a fundamentally bad person. We're not talking about somebody with like a political disagreement. We're talking about somebody who's like legitimately abusive and doesn't care. So I don't understand like the friendly tone and the jovial nature. I just don't get it.
It doesn't care. I guess we have a mind reader on our hands. God, it's so weird. Well, I guess it's not that weird. People feel extremely comfortable saying exactly what Mr. Grill is doing, rather for the reasons why that he's doing what he's doing. But and also while simultaneously criticizing him for like mind reading.
Someone life.
Very weird.
That's right. I am. My back hurts. I pulled a muscle in my back.
Oh,
Why would you do that?
granted, I don't know if Papa Guts ever criticized Mr. Grill for mind reading, but it's a very common like duality that exists in the critique of Mr.
Stress.
Grill.
You know, I've been under a lot of stress lately.
Really? Why is that?
You know, just working these projects. Fame is stressful. You know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about, right?
Of course. Absolutely.
Are we gonna do cameras?
We can. We don't have to. It's up to you. Okay. Anyways, okay.
Yeah, let's do cameras. I think I want to communicate some things non-verbally.
Why the fuck?
And I guess I just want to throw it out there that this isn't me watching this to like defend Mr. Grill against Papa Gut. I'm gonna criticize the things he says, basically defending my own personal views of Mr. Grill that I've held, because I think a lot of people have dog shit views about it, and I'm not saying that this is what Mr. Grill thinks or this is what happened or anything like that. But this is my interpretations of these things, and it frustrates me that everybody who has the opinions are so far off from my perspective, and it seems like it's almost impossible to get through to anybody that there's an alternate way that these things could be going. Because even when I've had like gotten like really far into the weeds, like I remember like with Doobie before, essentially he just had to call me a liar. He couldn't find any argument to say like, well, you're not being consistent here. Like my understanding, like my the way that I look at Mr. Grill and how he behaves is wholly consistent. So if he is the way that I think that he is, I don't have to like create different scenarios that like he's like, well, he's like this, so he's gonna do this. Like it's always like a consistent baseline of like what I think about him and why he does things and all that. Like I don't have to twist anything around to make it happen. So it's pretty hard for a lot of people to argue with me about it because they just don't agree outright. But it always feels really dishonest when they eventually have to say like, well, I think you're lying, or I just think that you're dumb or you're naive or whatever. I think I would be dumb if I had this view of him and then couldn't explain why I thought that the things that people thought are bad aren't bad, using like the same like profile of him. Mr. Grill is Schrodinger's empath. Either he's autistic and unable to understand human emotions, or he's a master manipulator who can peer inside your soul and have you be his sex doll. I don't think so. I think that Mr. Grill is somebody who is legitimately empathetic towards other people. And at the very least, he wants to be. Even when he isn't accurately being, I think that he wants to be. But at the same time, he doesn't want to be people-pleasy. So if he feels like he has a good read on why you're saying you're doing what you're saying you're doing, I think he just wants to respond to it the way that he wants to respond to it. And I think a lot of times you can like ask him, like, why are you saying this or doing this? And he'll just tell you. It doesn't seem like he's being manipulative, like any more than like the baseline manipulation we have when we're interacting with people. I really don't think so. I think he's generally doing what he thinks is right. Or, I mean, if it's not like you need to do the right thing here, then he's just acting in his own interest like most people would do.
Fuck would you ask me a question if you already had the answer in mind?
But I don't think in a bad
Oh,
way.
I see what you're
a way
doing.
that I condemn.
Why wouldn't
well,
you just state, let's turn on cameras? Why would you give me the illusion of choice? Like if I would have said no, you probably would have asked again, like, are you sure? Like I'm supposed to...
I wouldn't. No, no. If you say no, I would accept that. Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be.
Why were you uncomfortable expressing a preference there initially, though? Why not just say, like, hey, I'd prefer to have cameras. There are things I want to communicate non-verbal.
However, I will say, I always understand why people think that he's manipulative or narcissistic and all that. It's not like I don't see all this stuff. I just disagree. I have a different view uh, that allows for him to behave the way that he does and not have it be those things. I'm not like naive to what other people think or the reasons why.
verbally.
Say he doesn't do himself
Because,
a lot of
Oh, so he's
favors.
catching him because this was something that he kept like being like very manipulative to his partner about. So
I think that you outrank me. Well, first of all, I'm a guest on your stream. Your stream's much bigger. You
What?
gave me my career. So I feel like
Destiny's friendly with Mr. Girl because he's described Mr. Girl multiple times as somebody who's just like him but without social skills. It's so interesting. I've seen Destiny say that he's a very good judge of character. I disagree at this point. I mean, like probably generally, but that's definitely like what if you really thinks that they're similar in the capacity just without social skills. Max doesn't lack social skills. He lacks like empathy. He lacks like fundamental human empathy. Like he's a scumbag. I don't understand.
Jesus
Interesting
Christ.
classification from Destiny there.
well, you know. So I feel like it's up to you.
Okay. Okay, bud. Hold on. Mr. Girl.
I see where you're going with this, though.
This guy's
I like it.
Do you know? Jesus, hold on.
Yeah.
That seems kind of
I'm not gonna be that
shitty.
aggressive the whole time. Don't worry. Okay.
Aggressive. That wasn't
You
aggressive.
do
at
what
all.
you need to do.
What? Was he being serious when he said he's not going to be that aggressive?
Jesus, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be that aggressive the whole time. Don't worry. Okay.
I don't even know that. Okay.
You do what you need to do.
Maybe I'm too triggered. But
Okay.
Also, might post this on my channel,
Oh, gotcha.
depending on how it goes.
well,
No problem.
I mean, I think that's a given. A given.
All right. Are you excited? Are you hyped? Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm fucking ready.
Okay. I just have
A
questions.
few questions. Yeah.
So, I listened to the video of you debating Shaylin and Other Feelings. Of you talking to your girlfriend. It is girlfriend, right? It's not
Just
fiancé or-
girlfriend.
Okay, gotcha.
Not yet.
Not yet. And
I could propose to her right now on stream. Wouldn't that be romantic?
maybe
As I defend my abusive behavior.
that would be a good love bomb. The most. That's
It
how I
would.
got married to fucking Melina. We had a huge fight. I was like, "Fuck, this bitch is about to run out on me." And I was like, "Melina, I love you. Marry me." And she was like, oh,
Nice.
okay. Yeah, that didn't actually happen. Okay.
Well, I'm gonna save this for.
Yeah, you
later.
want to say that for a big fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, I don't have these organized by topic at all. It was just kind of like things that I was writing down as the video was going. So I'm kind of doing a order in time and not necessarily by topic. All right.
Okay.
Um,
You know what I'm talking about. I know you know what I'm talking about.
for which thing?
The whole thing.
I do, but I know what she's
Okay.
talking about too. I don't know if you know what
Oh,
she's
sure.
talking about. We'll see. We'll get there. For some things, I'm just kind of curious. Normally with people I would caveat a bunch, but I don't think I need to do anything. None of these are like attacking questions. I'm just like curious. When you say you have an interesting perspective, and this has kind of come up a few other times on sex, and I am curious, like, what that is. So you present this idea initially that like when you're having sex with somebody, it feels like you want to be in your zone 100%, no consideration, no worrying about what they're doing, and that even if you make it like 90% you and 10% them, that 10% space that you're creating for them becomes like 90% of what you're thinking about, and it kind of like ruins it. Yeah, what do you mean? Yeah, just expand on it. I'm curious how you're talking about that.
Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. I feel okay. So here's a story. I was about 12.
So here's the thing. Like, listen, you're allowed to do whatever you want
Okay, I'll let him finish. then. I was gonna
sexually.
say
The
something.
problem is that his partner doesn't like that, so he's like bartering with her to do that, and he's creating a situation where he wants a contract that'll be upheld permanently, where she can't withdraw that that arrangement. Like this is an arrangement he wants to be able to lock her into like indefinitely. That's not how sex works, right? Or that's not how it should work. I mean, she can do that if she can agree to it if she wants, but it seems like she's agreeing to it under like an abusive pressure from him. Which obviously is a fucking huge problem to me, at least. Find a different girl that's into that. Find somebody who likes to be objectified. Like, instead of just being incredibly fucking manipulative and abusive to your girlfriend, why don't you just find somebody who's into that instead? I think that like a biggest part of Mr. Girl is he likes being able to manipulate and
I think it's exceptionally hard to tell what other people are into or not into sexually if you're not part of the dynamic. Like for all we know that kind of, and I don't think it's the case, but for all we know that like that kind of conversation could be part of the dynamic that's like been established. I think it's super weird, and like people are into a lot of shit, and I don't think that you can see the kind of thing that he's showing and understand exactly what's happening there. Also, it's okay, like he said, it is okay for her to agree to that stuff. But then he's gonna be like, but this is why it's not okay.
Vulnerable people, you know, I do. And after I watched this whole Cuties review, I was like, oh, I kind of understand what he's saying, but he's being really uncomfortable about it. When he talks about attraction to children, I mean, if he does have one, I imagine it has nothing to do with their bodies per se, and has everything to do with how malleable their brains are. So yeah, man,
Jesus.
I think he's a fucking scumbag. That doesn't care about consent at all. I don't think that he would care if he's the kind of person like who doesn't care about people. He's the reason that we made sexual assault laws, like to people like him.
Oh my
You know, so
god.
he knows what he needs to do for people to not like go after him for shit, but like he's a fucking piece of shit.
New stepmother asked my father, "Did you ever have a sex talk with Max?" And my father said, "Max, make sure the woman comes first." That's our sex talk. And I was just raised in a very feminist, liberal environment with feminist, liberal parents. And I was basically taught that.
That's it. I don't know if I would consider that a feminist, liberal to make the woman come first. That's like, I mean, there must be
that
more.
was his
Is
explanation
there
of
more? Because it just sounds normal to me. But okay.
Well, okay. To be clear, that wasn't a very feminist/liberal statement at all, but
No, it wasn't at all.
You don't think so?
absolutely not.
Dude, this is what I'm talking about. Like he has this hard, like, bro, this characterization he has of people around him is just fucking insane. That's not feminist or liberal at all. That's pretty normal. Make the girl come first. Okay. Where's the feminism and liberal?
Well, I mean, if you wanted to make it that, if the woman comes first, now we're talking like equality. Both people are getting off. Like I don't know if that's like the kind of silly way of his way of saying that in a silly way or not.
Liberalism there. That's just like
But
society,
if I
like,
tried,
pretty normal
it's
shit.
charitable. That's how I would.
How so?
There's maybe it's a phrasing issue, but there's a difference fundamentally in the approach to a sexual interaction, where one is where you are concerned about the sexual gratification of your partner, and the other is I gotta knock this shit out so that they feel like they got something from it, like I did, right?
Oh, okay. I don't. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
My interpretation of what he meant, and this is also based on the rest of my life.
Oh.
Either way, it's not feminist. I understand what he's saying. What he's saying is like, I got to make the girl come first so that she's, you know, whatever, as like almost as a chore, which is one interpretation, versus like, oh, make the woman come first from a pleasure perspective. Like, I feel like either way, that's not really a feminist thing. Like, hey, make sure that, if anything, it's reactionary to men not
Why is
necessarily
that-
caring about women
Why is that the
being
interpretation
satisfied.
here?
So, you know, okay.
Is guys who just hump and then come and then fall asleep are pigs. You don't want to be a selfish asshole. You want to be a courteous, empathetic, because that's what's important in bed.
Okay.
Yeah, mutual partners. What you're saying is that you want to exclusively be satisfied. Like, I don't know, why is that a feminist thing? Hey, make sure both of you are satisfied and not just the one. Oh, wow, it's so feminist. That's just, what the fuck?
I think that's like, I would say that's like level 3. We want to get one more level deeper, but that's okay. That's probably okay. Level 1 is
Well,
like,
yeah.
I don't give a fuck about my partner. Level
what
2
I
is like, level 2 is like, I'll make him come first at least. Level 3 is like, you want to be an attentive lover so your partner's having a good time. I think ideally there's like a 4th level, maybe,
Okay.
where
What's
it's
that?
like, me and my partner are like in this mutual pursuit of gratification or trying to satisfy each other, and there's like an inherent or intrinsic enjoyment in that. So like if I'm with a partner that I really like, I'm not getting them off only so that they're having a good time, or only so that like I'm making sure that like we're not uneven on orgasm counts, but because like I enjoy that experience too. Like I genuinely want them to be enjoying their time with me. That's not necessarily a thing that has to happen, right? I guess, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but that wanting can bleed into a feeling of responsibility.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't think it's a bad thing, but
Why is
It can feel bad. So I mean, I've been saddled with this shit since I was 12. A feeling
isn't
like,
it like
What a
okay.
victim. Holy shit.
like as a 12-year-old, it feels very weird to be told like your sexual fantasies that you have now are actually misogynistic, almost rape fantasies. With those fantasies you have where you're fucking somebody, yeah, that's not.
What is that based off of? Like, because he just expressed to us that his father said, make sure the girl comes. And then it sounds like he's interpreting that as this whole thing where his entire identity as a person is completely questioned and invalidated. That's a huge reach to me. Like, that's not, like, holy shit. Okay.
What sex should be like. You shouldn't be doing that. Sex should be you're twisting your wrist down so you can rub someone's clit while you're fucking them. That's what real sex is like. And like that's how my sex was for a long time. When I was 16, I was a very good little clit slave. And for a long time after that, and then I started like hating sex.
Yeah, I
And
understand because it's you're talking about like this feeling where it's like there's some like set of actions that I perform that can sometimes suck, and it's like a lot to be thinking about the other person, and there's a big responsibility that goes on, and now I kind of like sucked all the fun. Like I just want to throw some bitch over the couch and fuck her until, you know, yeah.
Yeah, I literally basically had never done that, except I had one girlfriend who didn't need any stimulation other than just me fucking her. And that was like very nice. But then after that, I didn't like really pick up on anything. I really liked having sex with her, but after that, I didn't really pick up on any, I didn't learn anything from that. So yeah, and like this mirrored my feelings about relationships in general, is that they're never for me. I feel like I'm always taking care of people, or historically,
I think if you're like how Mr. Girl described, if you're a really attentive lover, then you're probably gonna end up feeling like that at some point. I've always been like really hyper, like aware and focused whenever I had sex, and now finally, at a point in my life where like I wouldn't like to just get like a blowjob and not have sex or anything. Now finally, that's something I can enjoy. If you're like always trying super focused to perform, I think that like what he's talking about is just an inevitability. You're gonna feel that way.
always felt like that. That I'm always managing other people's feelings. And like, you know, everybody says I'm an empath, and I don't know if it's true, but you know, I think possibly it is. But I think part of what's made me empathetic is just like being afraid of my parents, being afraid of what's going to happen if I don't manage their emotions. So just ever since I was a kid, I feel like I'm just tracking everybody's feelings and trying to keep them from fucking freaking out. And with Shaylin, I mean, she wants me to do that. She wants me to track her feelings. And I speak for.
So why are you dating her? If you're fundamentally unhappy with the relationship and you think that she's too much upkeep, which is basically what you're saying, why are you dating her? Instead of trying to like manipulate her into like fundamentally changing who she is, why don't you just leave her? Like, I don't understand. Like, that's what I don't get it.
Both of us.
Well, if he's doing all these horrible things, why doesn't she just leave him? Unless he thinks like she feels physically threatened too.
Because she will not be making any public statements about this video or our relationship.
Sure, gotcha.
Yeah, it sounded like she didn't even want it to be posted, and you still posted it, which again is like a sign of like fucking being a piece of shit.
It's not true. Shaylin did have the absolute veto on whether that video came out or not.
Damn, I really want to get both of you on here at one point, but okay. So I'll share my. And we'll see if we can find any commensurability between the two of our views. If there's any way we could relate these. So I would consider, I think for me, because I'm not a fighter generally, I don't get a lot of fist fights with people. Yeah, sexual interactions with me are very unique in that you are sharing a very intimate space with somebody that ordinarily is respected in all other cases in life. You're never getting that close to somebody or being like manipulating somebody's body. That's like there's like a very, very intimate. You have 100 points of sex pleasure, and you're trying to divide this up between like men and women. So like even when you're getting 90 points of sex pleasure, if you have to give them 10, like that just it fucks with your head and it's like fuck, I just want like to do the 100 points and be done with it, right? I want to have all of this like to myself so that I can enjoy this and whatever. But I guess when I think of like sexual experiences, this is gonna sound really religious in this terminology, but like I view this as like it's a union of two people creating one thing, and then in that one thing in that shared space, like I think you can both pursue everything you want more or less, but you kind of have to be aware of what the other person is doing because it's a shared space. It's like when you fuse with the Patera earrings and DBZ and you become one body. There's like you're two people.
I think this is like almost completely unnecessary angle. Like the issue isn't that he wants to have selfish sex; it's the way that he goes about trying to engage in it, and like how he tries to like force her into this he tries to force her into a contractual engagement of like, if we have sex, this is how we have to have sex.
That's not what he said. He said he wanted it like once a month. He didn't say if we have sex, this is how we have to have sex. If this guy thinks that, then some of what he's saying is a bit more like agreeable. I would say that this is probably like a lot more agreeable. But I wouldn't say like it would still be like inherently justified to say that it's bad or abusive. I would just feel like, I think just how I feel personally about sex would make me feel like that's weird and like not good and stuff, but I don't think it would be inherently bad. But that wasn't what Mr. Girl was asking for.
Like once a month, and you have to do it, and I need you to agree to it now, and then you can't back out. That's not how sex works. That's my fundamental issue. I don't really care that he likes to have selfish sex. Every guy likes having selfish sex sometimes. Like sometimes I fuck my wife and I don't give her any pleasure, you know, and like she enjoys it occasionally because it's like she's like I get to use her, you know, and that's fun for us sometimes. Sometimes it's not like something that happens a whole lot, but like yeah, and some women can be into that. Find that woman. Like why instead you seem to be constantly trying to like manipulate and change the person that you're with in order to like satisfy you over and over, and like berating her and putting her into a situation where she has to give you consent and then she can't, or she has to like she has to give you consent and then she can't remove that consent. Like, that's a much bigger issue here. I feel like we're focusing on the wrong thing. Like, who gives a shit about like how selfish somebody is or isn't in bed? Like, it really doesn't matter. That's up to like a relationship contract. It's just like fucking bizarre. I mean, I just don't think that this is the angle that you would operate with, to be honest with you.
Sharing a space, and you kind of have to figure out how to navigate that for the both of you, rather than like two individual entities that are just trying to get as much as they can without the other person fucking it up too much. Is I guess like the difference.
And you see my view of it as too like combative or too competitive.
I don't think that your view is necessarily bad, but I don't know if this ruins it for you. But it would have to be something that requires like a level of negotiation ahead of time. So like, have you ever heard, for instance, of the concept of like free use?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Is
sure.
that something that like appeals to you, or does that suck because you have to talk about it beforehand?
No, I'm fine with talking. I mean, that's kind of what I was trying to do in the video, is talk about it beforehand. I'm fine with that. Yeah. The thing that appeals to me about free is it's not a sexual. It's not really a sexual thing. I'm not like, man, the idea of just like a lifeless, cold body there is amazing. Like, it's not that. It's an emotional thing that I'm asking for.
Yeah, I think it's not. You don't need like they can even be an active participant. You just don't want to feel like when you're having sex with somebody, you don't want to have to feel like you have to manage their feelings at all. Like they can be into it, they can do whatever, but you want to feel like you can get in there, do what you want, and they are 100% self-sufficient in terms of taking care of themselves and everything emotionally.
Yeah, but I think that I feel I want reparations.
What do you mean by that?
So I'm from women.
Well, yeah, but like, what kind of reparations? What do you mean?
I want agency reparations. Like, I want control. I want selfishness. I want to have that 12-year-old sex I never got to have, 16-year-old sex I never got to have. I want to be more like a 16-year-old. I feel.
I don't even know what that means.
Well,
What?
He's explaining
Okay.
it.
Yeah, okay. What?
like I'm missing my childhood, my teenage years.
So, like-
and I want Shaylin to just like allow me to be that 16-year-old, careless, selfish teenager, occasionally, and not always, just sometimes. And like, it's not something, I don't know if it's something I'll
Well,
want.
you established that you guys barely have sex, so every time you guys have sex like maybe once a month. So like which I don't even know why you guys don't have that much sex. I'm assuming it has something to do with how much of a piece of shit you are. I don't really know. But yeah, like that's
Okay.
basically all the time
Big
based on
claim.
like your arrangement.
Want forever. And I also don't. I think that our relationship could change in a way, or I could change in a way, so that I don't feel like I want that. But right now, I get what you're saying. Like, you're saying I could have that feeling and not have the other person just lie still with duct tape over their mouth. But I don't think where I'm at right now, I don't know if that's possible. I feel like anything now just feels like you're telling me I have to figure out what you're thinking and feeling and deal with it. And I don't want. I need you to just cocoon into yourself, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in about 12 minutes.
Gotcha. I think that I want to be really careful with what I say, because I'm not advising you to like break up. I'm never going down that road or anything. But I think that
I would.
I think that it can be the case that sometimes there are like fundamental sexual incompatibilities with some people, right? Like say you have like a very prim and proper woman who doesn't believe in any degrading stuff, and like maybe she'll even like give you blowjobs. But let's say you have this fantasy where it's like, I want to hang you over the edge of the bed and fuck your throat until you're fucking crying, and that person is like, I will never ever do that. Like at some point you have to realize like, okay, well, fuck me. I'm either gonna open my relationship, be single, or cheat, or I guess whatever, or fucking real doll, I guess. But like,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm curious because it sounds like for Shaylin, there's some level of emotion. If you don't want to talk about it, bring it up. I can,
No, go ahead.
Yeah, it feels like she wants to feel like on with the other party during sex. Otherwise, and she didn't explain why, so it's hard to know, but maybe she feels like used, or maybe she feels just in general like unseen or unheard, or those sexual experiences aren't fulfilling for any of those prior, or maybe other unlisted reasons, which makes it hard for her to, I guess, like acquiesce to those desires. But to your
I wonder. Okay, he must have that video at a faster speed. It makes me wonder if like people, or maybe even Destiny, people who watch this and have these views, I wonder if they've ever had to have like a BDSM like conversation with a partner. I'm not saying that it would normally look like how Mr. Girl and Shaylin interacted, but it can. And it doesn't make it like necessarily bad. But it just seems like the way that this gets interpreted and like such heavy judgment gets put on it just seems like people have never had to have like a like an in-depth and like, I guess for lack of a better word, like more proper and focused conversation about it. I think that's maybe where some of the disconnect comes from.
your desires.
I can give my interpretation of what Shaylin was saying. If you
Sure. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. My understanding is that Shaylin, well, first of all, if she was really into
Or those sexual she didn't explain why, so it's hard to know, but maybe she feels like used, or maybe she feels just in general like unseen or unheard, or those sexual experiences aren't fulfilling for any of those prior, or maybe other unlisted reasons, which makes it hard for her to, I guess, like acquiesce to those desires.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I find it very bizarre that like she would be so against. Okay, so this is I'm trying.
What's up?
Can I go to art club tomorrow?
Can you go to art club tomorrow?
Yeah.
I have to talk to Morgan, but I don't think it's an issue.
Okay.
Okay.
It's for me to finish up my art project.
Okay, I'll talk to Morgan about it just to make sure.
I got you.
Have very sometimes I have very aggressive sex with my wife. Like we have some very sex that a lot of people would consider pretty suspicious, right? Which isn't unheard, which is not uncommon for some people. Like we like CNC, but there's always like the understanding that like it can be snapped out of at any moment instantaneously with one
Yeah, for heat, because the heater sucks.
save for it or something. I feel like that's her biggest issue is like it
Oh.
seems to not be able to she cannot break, or if she does break it, he'll get fucking aggressive and like angry at her or something. That's just the way that
what
I'm
is that
interpreting it.
implication?
To your desires.
I
feel like
can give my
he's just
interpretation
making
of
that
what Shaylin was
part,
saying. if you-
Sure.
Let's hear it.
Okay.
Oh.
My understanding is that Shaylin, well, first of all, if she was really into it, then I wouldn't want it.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I want her to be giving me something. And if she
You
happens
see,
to...
that's so fucking weird. Like if my wife, even when we're doing like consensual non-consent, like if she's not into it, I don't want it. That's just like I don't really understand that. I don't understand wanting to rape like actually do that to somebody. That's what I'm hearing here. That's how I'm interpreting this. I don't think I'm having an unreasonable interpretation, to be honest with you.
I guess that I mean like I'm more with the fuck's this guy's name? Papa Gut on this personally, but I still don't think it's weird.
That's what it sounds like to me. Insane.
want the exact same thing as me, then my fantasy becomes eclipsed by hers, and it then feels like it's about her. So I want her, like, okay, getting throat fucked is like a pretty serious thing. Like that's some people that's not something you're gonna feel neutral about. That's like hugely great or terrible.
But
Still,
just to draw some delineations here, because it is interesting, right? Because it sounds like if a girl like threw herself over the edge of the bed, was like, I really want you to throw fuck me until I cry. That experience wouldn't really be as fulfilling for you as if you like rolled a girl over and you were like, let me throw fuck you until you cry and just like deal with it, and then afterwards maybe I could do something. Like you would like that
Well,
second
depends
experience more, right? The one where she's like not because if it's about like
well,
this, yeah,
I want to be careful. I want to be
yeah, of
careful
course.
too. It's not. It depends on what kind of tears you want. So
Well, I don't mean like I'm sorry when I'm talking about throat fucking, I don't mean crying like because you're traumatized. I mean crying because you like lack of air and whatever else goes on when you're shoving dicks in your throat.
it's not that I wouldn't like it, but if I would be serving her, like
Yeah.
regardless of what it looks like. If somebody says do this to me
It's
and
very
throw X, Y, Z,
bizarre.
then you are
Dude,
effectively.
this is like very bizarre. Like this goes beyond like this. Dude, this he doesn't seem like he should be able to be. He shouldn't be engaging with any woman or any person. Because like he doesn't want like mutual fantasies that are fulfilling with people. He wants to legitimately like it seems like he legitimately wants to like rape this girl in some capacity. Like he wants her to consent, but he wants her to hate the entire experience. Why?
He didn't even say that. I don't know how taking care of your own shit means you have to hate it.
That's
weird.
insane. That's psychotic. That doesn't even make sense. I've never heard of that before. Like I don't think that's not healthy in any capacity.
I think it's
serving that
fine.
person. And like that's fine. I'm not saying I'm against all like service and sex. What bothers me is when there's no clarity about the service.
It's
What
always
scares
going to
me-
be like really hard to find that though, no? Like
Or
let's
what?
say for instance, like let's say that
Or-
I'm
To find that compatibility.
no, to find that clarity. Like let's say that I'm with a girl.
No, but it's
and-
not about him always needing power. Like it's not a power thing. Like I mean, like I like having sexual power too. This goes beyond to like another degree of just like, oh, I need power. This
guy
goes to like a
sounds just
whole
like
other like
Bosch.
fucking degree of abuse. It's fucking
His
this is
voice.
insane. Like this is way too. It's like very extra, I guess you'd say.
I like the idea of like somebody riding on top of me. That's like a really hot idea for them to do that just for me. I want you to do it just for me. And let's say the girl is even willing to say like, oh, like I don't normally do that. I'm into that. She's like, I'll do it for you because I love you. Well, what's happening at that point? Is she like doing something just for me, or is she doing it because like now it's a thing she wants to do because she loves me, or like that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Like, how do you even begin to separate out like what is for me and what's not for me, especially in the context of a relationship, right?
That can get complicated. I agree, but I think there's certain markers that I am looking for to feel like something's for me. So like one, it was my idea.
Okay.
You know, if Shaylin had said, you know, Max, I was thinking, you seem to have a lot of trouble with blah blah blah, and I think that it might be nice for you if I lay perfectly still during sex. What do you think? Then that would start to feel like, what are you tricking me? You want me to do this for some reason? There's a trap. That the Venus flytrap alarm would go off if she did that. But that didn't happen. Another is like when I asked her, she wasn't like, "Oh, you hit the nail on the head. This is my fantasy. I want this." And then she said yes immediately. So she did say yes immediately. But then
Yeah.
I felt like she wanted to make the way we're talking about it about her, which is like a problem for me because it's like, okay, I'm getting the thing in a tiny little nugget, but it's surrounded by the exact opposite of what I want. Of like, can you make this conversation where you're asking me to lie still during sex about me?
I think
Like,
that there's
no, no,
so
I don't want to do that.
okay, there is a. I'm trying to explain this. There's a dynamic around rougher sex that's always kind of like that, and I'm so I'm curious how you feel about this. Okay, so I've been with people that like very rough encounters sometimes, and I'm not normally like that, but I mean I can play the role if I need to, okay? But when I'm in charge of like a very rough encounter like that, it's most of my brain power is usually spent figuring out like what is like how is the other person responding, right? And I think that in the middle of that encounter,
You want to like see if it's too much or whatnot. Yeah, for sure. I get that.
even though you're pushing really hard, like the only reason it works is because the other person knows that there's some consideration at the end of the day there for them. So it's kind of weird because I feel like in situations where you're in charge of the sexual encounter, you're actually the bitch. Like, I'm taking you as hard as I can, but I'm making sure that like it's a good position and I'm not like destroying your cervix. I'm making sure that if I'm choking you, I'm not like actually killing you. Like I'm making sure that I'm pulling your hair, right? We're at the base and we're not just pulling the end. Like there's like all these things going on where it's like, yeah, like we're doing the experience where you're getting this like very, very intense hard thing. But like all of my thoughts are making sure like, okay, like I'm not like actually hurting this person and they know that I know what the boundaries are. It seems like you want to literally just rape somebody. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. Well, I think the thing is though, with hard sex, a lot of the person wants to be free to react as though you're raping them. So
a little bit, yeah, but all of that occurs. All of it is always wrapped in that nugget of
yeah. But I'm saying that if you're having sex that is going to look a lot like rape, like rough rape, and the person wants to be able to say no, stop, but I didn't say strawberry daiquiri, so you don't have to actually stop. Like then in that case, it makes sense to be more careful and more attuned. But if the person's lying still, I think it's like I don't think we need a safe word for that. She can just be like stop, you know. So I don't think that I would need that same level of hyper attunement because I don't think it's that dangerous of a way to have sex.
Two separate conversations we're kind of having now, but so because I'm kind of more focused on I'm just trying to figure out what you want to get out of it. Let me
That's probably like the biggest disagreement I would have because I think safe words are just always good. It's just always a positive thing. Like if you're accustomed to having the type of sex where you use a safe word, then it's just going to set off an immediate alarm in your head and you're just going to stop. Whereas if you don't, like, it might be a bit easier to blow past it. Well, especially if you do have the kind of sex where you use a safe word normally, and then in another situation where you just would take it off the table, like where you just don't have one, I think that's probably pretty risky. I'd say if you use them ever, you should probably just always have it like safe word activatability like on, so to speak.
let me
yeah,
we'll
that's
follow
probably
this
best
in for a bit.
practice.
So if the person is just laying there, you want to fuck them, you don't feel like it's really a big deal. It might not be to you because it doesn't seem that sexually intense, right?
No, it could be very psychologically intense.
Yeah, and I think that's like the issue is that the person feels like there have been people that I've been with where nothing extreme is going on, but you can tell for them like it's a very psychologically or emotionally intense moment. Yeah.
Yes, that's for sure a consideration. But that's why I'm saying. So I think that's true of both of us. We're both very likely to have some kind of like trauma freak out during sex.
A little bit, but it's different when you're the one in charge. Because when you're the one in charge, you have a way easier time stopping. Whereas for the other person, if they get nervous,
they have to actually speak up.
Yeah, which is very challenging. And you already had videos saying you don't care if I'm just fucking with you. Well, half fucking with you, but go ahead.
Wait, saying I don't. That's that time. Yeah.
But yeah. So I guess I think we both probably agree on that. But backing up a little bit, I guess I'm trying to figure like, I'm trying to.
I don't know why we're laughing about it. Like, yeah, didn't he have like he was like having a conversation where he was like laughing about how he like forced a girl to have sex with him? Is that what we're referring to?
Like, it sounds like I'm trying to trap you. I know you don't think I would do that, but I'm trying to find a different way to ask you. Like, do you just want to rape somebody? Can you help me find a different way?
Steven, I trust you enough to just lie still while you do.
Yeah, because it sounds like that you want.
Take me wherever you want.
You want to basically, however, you basically want to have a person where you're just like, there's a thing that I want to do. I want to do it because I want to do it. I don't care. You figure your own shit out, and then I'm gonna do that.
That's the key. Figure your own shit out.
I don't know if this is possible with humans without a lot of drugs. That's what I'm trying to think of. I'm trying to think of if it's possible because there's two.
I think you might be being a little sexist here.
Okay.
If Melina asked you,
"What?
Will you lie still during sex? I just want to ride you once every month. I just want to ride you and do my thing." Do you think it would be fair to say, well, you might have trouble?
That's not what he's asking. You're not asking your girl to just lie there while you fuck her. You're asking her to lie there and not enjoy it. Because if there's any enjoyment, you're not going to like it. Those are two very different things. Those are not the same thing. These are disanalogous. I don't know what the fuck he's on about.
Well, advocating for yourself in that situation, it could be traumatic for you psychologically, and that would only be possible if you did drugs. I feel like
For
you're saying
me,
this about-
well, no, hold on, because it's totally different. Because if a girl were to ask me that, I'm like, if that girl was you, if you wanted to ride me and you were saying,
Yes.
Steven, I want to take you into my pussy, right?
Yes.
I would
Yeah.
say to you, okay, Max, but I'm going to agree to it very quickly, and I'm going to have a lot of fun doing that. Is that going to ruin the experience for you? And you're going to fuck. It's not the same now, because that's the difference,
Maybe.
right?
I'm gonna lose this.
I don't.
I got too much fun.
Well,
Like, if you would ask me
you and I
that-
would never have this problem in the first place.
Well,
but
anything's possible. It's 2022. Okay, but I'm saying
No,
like,
no, I meant
I'm-
because we're so compatible, we wouldn't have this
Oh,
problem.
of course, yeah. But I'm saying like, so you gave me like these 3 criteria earlier, that it's your
That's so
idea,
funny.
that the other person doesn't say like yes immediately, and that you have like a certain way of talking about it, right? But like, if you suggested that, I would agree immediately, and I'm like, yeah, sure, and I would have a lot of fun doing it. So like, I
Okay,
feel like that
that's-
would ruin that for you.
that's- Maybe, but I still don't think that you would
So
need
far away
drugs to
from
do
what
it.
I need.
Well, no, what I'm saying you would need drugs for is to genuinely have an experience where you're positing an idea that the other person's not really into, but you want to be able to kind of like get access to their body and use them
I don't think that works because then you'd have to, if they were on drugs, you'd have to be even more paying attention to how they're doing and all that.
for that. That there's either one of two things happening. Either one, they're legitimately getting raped,
Otherwise, you
or
just
two,
actually
there's found some
fucked
way
up.
to dissociate
Okay.
themselves from the experience so much,
see.
usually with like some kind of drug. Yeah, like I don't see how
I
a normal
don't-
human actually go that way. Yeah.
I don't think the problem is that Shaylin isn't into it.
Okay.
I don't agree that she's not into it. The problem is that she's not into agreeing to things.
Well, if she
What?
was into it, that wouldn't that ruin it for you?
Yeah, that would have ruined it for him.
No, it's not that I want her to dislike it or not like it. I just
You literally said if you knew she liked it, you wouldn't like it. What is he talking about? You
He doesn't need her to be like not into it. He needs her to not be pushing for it. He needs it to not be I feel like it's pretty clear at this point, like it's not something that's being done for her benefit. It's being done for his benefit. It's fine if she enjoys it, but like he doesn't want to be responsible for her enjoyment of it. It is pretty clear at this point.
It doesn't seem like he even knows what the fuck he's talking about. You said that if she has any level of enjoyment, then you're not gonna like it. That's what you said. Bro, I just don't understand how this can get so fucking unintelligent.
well, I think what would ruin it is if I felt like actually I was acting out her fantasy. It's not that I want her to not like it. It's fine if she like. I'm sure she.
Well, I feel like you could like get into that.
You said if she liked it 11%, it would still be too much for you. You want it to be purely you. You don't want her to enjoy it. Like, I don't know, what are we supposed to extrapolate from that?
Yeah.
If she said it,
You could start
She
doing
likes
it and be really into it, and then all of a sudden she orgasms. You're like, "Fuck you, bitch! I didn't know you liked
No,
it
no,
this
no,
much.
it's fine.
You like it
That's
more
fine.
than me." No, okay.
No, that's fine. I'm not saying I don't have to like it more than her. I just want to have to not worry about her or not feel like I am serving her. That's what it is. Is I often feel like I'm serving people in relationships. And so if I'm just in that hypothetical, I just meant if I said it and then she reacted in a way that was like, "Oh, I've been trying to get you to say this for a long time. Good job, my pet." Then that
Shit.
would make me feel
Forgot
just
to pause
used
those.
again.
For fuck's sake, just
Thank you for the
resubscribe
sub,
for
brother. I forgot to
23 months.
I forgot to pause this.
Papa.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
So it's not that I want her to it's more about framing. It's not so much about her experience of it, like if she orgasms or likes it or whatever. It's more about what bothered me in the conversation is that it felt like it was the agreement itself was being reframed as somehow I have to be super caretaking of her. Like no matter what, I can't escape it. I can't escape it during sex. I can't escape it. And so therefore I'm like, well, what if we can take this out of sex? She's like, well, then you have to caretake me right now. And it's like,
Isn't it like, how do you-
I want
When
the
I didn't see that at all. When in that entire thing, I don't know what the fuck he's even talking about.
burden to be lifted.
Sure, I'm trying to think.
I want her to take on the burden. I think if she were a man, I feel like you would think this was a more
What?
reasonable request.
I think that
No, I think that he's trying to like honestly like weaponize like feminism in order to try to dunk on him. Like, oh no, you're being sexist because you think that she's not strong enough to advocate for herself. You're telling her in this moment that she has to have like, she can't enjoy the sex. You literally said if you think that she's enjoying it, even 10%, it's too much for her. You want to be in that situation, and you're forcing her to make this agreement like right on the spot, and then she has to like adhere to it. Like this isn't normal fucking behavior. It's not that you're enacting like a CNC thing. You legitimately want to hate her. Like you don't want her to exist as a person. You basically might as well just fuck a doll at this point. This is like fucking psychotic behavior, and it's so interesting that what I find very interesting is when he's in the moment with her, he's very comfortable being abusive towards her. But when he's talking to other people, like, and it seems like it's probably mostly men, he shuts down very quickly, and all of a sudden he tries to play like this victim card. I mean, he tries to play the victim with his girlfriend as well. But like he doesn't even have the balls to just say what he was saying before. Like he has to reframe it in a way where he's somehow the victim and she's somehow like a fucking manipulative abuser. Even he's fucking ridiculous.
so I want to be very careful when I say this. This isn't a slight on Shaylin.
You want sandwich?
I need a knife.
Yes, it
This is good. It's not a slight on Shaylin, but I think that
It's okay if it is.
what you're asking for would be like an
Okay.
exceptionally rare thing. I don't think many people can handle that level of self-care when they're that intimately engaged with another person. I think I could, but like I would understand that that would be an incredibly rare thing. Thank you. I don't.
Well, then that's what I need.
But so then where do you go from there?
Why don't you break up with her?
If your partner isn't able to like,
Instead of trying to force her to do something that she doesn't want to do, why don't you just break up with her and fucking move on? I don't really get it.
Wait, she said yes, right? I mean, like we have the same understanding.
well,
at the ending
she
of
said
the
yes
video.
with a lot of obvious emotional reservations, right?
Well, that's
because
perfect.
she said yes, but
That's
she,
perfect.
But she wants to wrap it in that nugget of things about her. That's the issue. She's never going to say yes to what you're looking for because
But she-
your issue
she
with the
didn't.
rest of the conversation, she didn't, and that's why it fell apart at the end. The issue with the rest of the conversation is she said yes to the thing in the middle, and then the rest of it was building the nugget, right? Because that's what you were upset about her for. Like, why are you making this about you? Why can't we just do this thing? Why are you guys more day of the month? Like, Jesus.
But I said no, I said no to the nugget. I escaped the nugget.
Yeah, but by even saying no to the nugget is being made, right? Like if it's a 90-10 thing, by even acknowledging the 10 thing, now it's become the 90 thing, is what it feels like. Because it felt like that was the majority of your disagreements for like the whole last half of that interview was how to deal with the emotional stuff around what you want to be fundamentally an unemotional experience.
Yeah, I'm not saying it went perfectly, but I feel like I feel happy with the resolution
Why?
because I got what I wanted.
Yeah, but do you feel like she got what she wanted?
No.
Why shouldn't in a relationship, if you guys are looking at yourself as some sort of singular entity, you've come together and joined to make some
Well, you're
sort
putting me in you're putting me in an impossible, like, either if she gets what she wants, then I lose, and if she doesn't get what she wants, then we're not a singular entity. I guess I just don't think of us as a singular entity.
No, you don't.
This
I mean,
is-
you're both individuals, but when you come together in a relationship, especially for sexual purposes, there's one thing that is existing here that like has to be dealt with, right? There's a new thing that's created.
Once a month.
Okay.
I don't want us to come together as a singular entity.
Mm-hmm.
I want us to come together as individuals. I want to jack off with her body,
Sure.
and I want her to do whatever she needs to do.
But that's not what he wants. He keeps framing it like it's not what he wants. He doesn't want to just like fuck her and not have to care about her. He wants to fuck her in a way where like she's objectified and she can't enjoy it. Those are two very different things. Like she can't even be part of like the fantasy of not enjoying it, right? Like she's not even a rape fantasy. It's like he legitimately doesn't want her to like it. These are not the same thing. I love how nuance disappears the second that it's like it's positive for his argument.
Not make it my job to
Mm-hmm.
be super attuned to her. I actually want her to act in a way that makes it harder for me to attune to her.
Sure. But it seems like in order to get to that point, you're gonna have to lay a whole bunch of emotional groundwork to get there. Like you're gonna have to do a lot of work to get to that point. Does that
I
make
feel like
sense?
we're there.
I don't. Hold on. I was gonna say I don't think so. Let me rephrase that. Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because it seems like she's having a lot of trouble emotionally processing everything going on around this event.
Yes. Whose problem is that?
Both of yours.
No.
Yeah, like I don't understand.
No. I see. This is another thing I'm trying to change in my relationship with Shaylin.
Mm-hmm.
Processing your emotions is your job.
This is
Sure.
true.
Now,
You're both
if she-
invested in
she
the
can-
outcome of that process, are you not?
No. If
Of course
if it
you are.
makes-
You
if
want
it-
her to
no,
be more emotionally stable and like right. It's affecting.
Oh
your
yeah.
happiness.
I care about that.
Well, clearly you don't.
But as far as getting what I want,
Clearly
I just need
you
her to
don't.
process her emotions on her own, or not process them and then say, "Oh, I freaked out. I can't handle this." Either one.
What if you
just
get to the
don't
point
want-
to where she's basically saying like, I can't do this anymore. Like I have to exit the relationship
I don't think she would break up with me because I can't do what anymore? Process my own emotions.
without any sort of input or guidance or help or acknowledgement from you or feeling seen by
Look,
you.
we both help each other process our emotions.
I really wanted him to finish that what he was about to say there.
I'm not saying that I don't.
What if you
just
get to the
don't
point to where she's basically saying like, I can't do this anymore. Like I have to exit the relationship.
I don't think she would break up with me because I can't do what anymore.
I really wish he would have finished that. I want to know what he was gonna say, like why he didn't think that she would break up with him. Because like it could have been like, oh, I don't think she would have broken up with me because
Because what? What's the
like I
anticipated
don't think this is a big
thing?
deal or something, or because or is it because like I don't, you think that you have her like wrapped around your finger in some capacity. I really wish he finished that thought.
Anymore. Process my own emotions.
Without any
say,
sort
like,
of input or guidance or help
'cause he
or
beat her
acknowledgement
ass or
from you
something?
or
That's
feeling
silly.
seen by
Look,
you.
we both help each other process our emotions. I'm not saying that I don't want to help her, but it's about responsibility that I'm saying. I don't want it to be my job to process her emotions for her instead of her. That feels like parenting.
Yeah, I agree with that. I would say the same in my relationships. I go really hard on that. I don't want to feel like your dad. I'm not here to
Yeah.
for you.
Listen, you can fundamentally agree with that for sure. I think everybody does. Like, you don't always want to be responsible for like helping your partner process their emotions. That's very damaged. I get it, but that's not what we're talking about. You're talking about a situation where you want her to not enjoy sex, literally, not fantasy about it. You just want her to not enjoy sex, and so that's a very difficult thing to process. And you don't want to be part of that process, which is interesting because if you were part of that process, it probably would be something like if you would help her get through her shit, in that she'd probably be more comfortable and being like, you know what, I'll do this because now it's more about trying, and you'll help if she has like an emotional breakdown. But instead, you want to fuck her, and if she has an emotional breakdown, to just not have to deal with it. Like it's very just like shitty, manipulative, and selfish.
But
No, he didn't say not help her.
even
when
at that
she got to
point,
that
there
point.
is like, I'm gonna understand that, especially if I'm making a really big ask. There's gonna be some the other person is looking for some kind of assurance. Like they want to make sure that things are okay. And I think that asking people to just basically jump off the edge of a cliff and close their eyes and completely lose it's a really big ask from these people.
Yeah, but that's the whole, that even your framing of that is so, it's so, the responsibility that you and I feel is so baked into that analogy that when you and I get asked to manage our own feelings and process our own feelings and lie still so that we can be used, we're not jumping off of a cliff. We're not hoping there's some balloon at the bottom. We're just managing our feelings. But when we ask Shaylin to do it, it's throwing a little baby off of a cliff. And like, I agree that I kind of feel like that, but I don't, it's not true. I don't want to feel like that.
So here, okay, so I'm speaking
Baby
from,
better fucking grow wings.
speaking from a place of personal experience here, because I have a lot of issues with this too. So I've had to deal with this a lot too. But like, one thing that you
Bro, it's just fundamentally this is a lot for her, and she needs help like managing it. That's it, and he doesn't want to help her manage it. That's the entire thing. Jesus Christ, this is because. I mean, we've already talked about it, but it's just not the same. It's not directly analogous. Because again, I could ask my wife right now. I can get up, I can get off stream, and I could be like, "I want to fuck you without making you come. I don't want you." Like, and she'd be like, "Okay." Like she wouldn't care. But like, you don't want to do that. You want her to not enjoy it, and you really want her to hate it. You want her to. You effectively, it seems like you want to rape her. So
have to accept.
I think that's
not
an
everybody has the same
extreme,
emotional needs.
Takeaway.
Like I'm the type of person, and also this is one important thing. Not everybody has the same emotional
Even
needs.
though I
number one.
understand,
And number two,
I understand that my view on it is not the majority one.
not everything in a
Does-
relationship has to be reciprocated.
His perspective does seem to be
Those are both
really
true.
wild and
yeah.
extreme to me.
So if different people have different levels of emotional requirements, it's not fair. I don't want to say it's abusive, but it's like it's not fair to bring up your emotional composition as a counter to theirs. And I'll admit I do this sometimes when I fight with Melina, even where she'll say like, oh well, I feel bad about this, you should
And
do
you
that.
said, I would never fucking do this.
Yeah, and I'll say like, bro, you could do 20 times worse than me. I don't give a fuck. I go to my computer room and fucking stream. Like, get the fuck over yourself, right? I'll say this when I'm mad, but I shouldn't. It's not a fair thing to say. Like, you can't expect people to match your internal emotional composition just because you want them to, right?
That's true.
Because they'll never be that. They can't unless you're dating like 14-year-olds. They'll never turn into that person. We're grown up. We're adults. Like, that's not going to change at that point. If you're in
yeah,
your
it's basically different people get triggered by different things. That's how everybody is in every relationship. So, for instance, Mr. Girl gets triggered when he has to care about his girlfriend. You know what I mean? So everybody and most people don't. Right? So
I think it's not what's being said here. I don't think. I think he's saying that when he says that like it wouldn't be bad. Like we're expected to do this, so I don't see why it's bad for me to like want and expect it. I think he's just saying that if it's understandable for us to do it, then it's not unreasonable to ask for it as well. I think it's that.
Oh, that's
simple.
true. I think we're dating
What's
some
going on,
pretty
man? How you
young
doing?
ladies.
I don't think
Holy
it's
shit.
saying
We
like
are-
you should have the same mentality as me. But if it's put on the guide to where like it's not even like if it's just like it's not even like part of the conversation that they're gonna take care of their own shit, then like it doesn't seem like it's that radical to request.
We are dating 14-year-olds. She's 27.
Okay, well that's no.
I'm pretty different from how I was when I was 27.
Really?
I'm much more, yeah. I couldn't talk about my feelings at all. I could not process her, man. I was like Shaylin. I was a complete fucking mess.
I mean, I still think you're a mess, but I bet you weren't that.
Not a
different.
complete mess.
Not a complete mess. Maybe, but okay.
You think I'm a complete mess?
No, not a complete mess.
So this is what's interesting. So you're the way you're identifying this girl as like a mess, that she's a fucking like hopeless and a mess in some capacity. Why are you still with her? You're dating somebody who you're like identifying as somebody who is a lot to deal with, basically. So then, and then you're complaining that you have to deal with her. You know what I mean? Like, okay, if you know she's the kind of person, like if you think that she's the type of person that needs like a lot of, I guess for lack of a better term, like conditioning, we'll say. Like you feel like she needs a lot of like conditioning, or you feel like she needs like a lot of like caretaking or whatever. And you've identified this as her as a person fundamentally. Why are you with her if you don't want to help her work on her shit? You don't have to you don't have to be there for anybody. You don't have to help people work on their shit. You just don't. But like, why are you then? Why are you putting yourself? Because it sounds like you're dating somebody who you know is not necessarily compatible. Somebody you know who struggles with their ability to manage their emotions. And instead of help them try to like process that in a positive way, you want to just berate them until they do what you want. Again, like another sign of like fucking being a manipulative piece of shit. Like you signed the relationship contract to be with somebody. Like my wife gets very stressed very often, right? And it is what it is though. Like I love her and I help her manage it. But if I just kept saying do it yourself, then like why am I dating her then? Why am I with her? What's the point? Like if I'm not going to be like the emotional support she needs. Everybody has different requirements in a relationship of like different types of support. Why are you?
How does that argument not flip around to the exact same thing? Like why would it be inappropriate then for somebody to say to Shaylin like, well, if you're not able to meet his request, then why? And like I don't think this argument is good on either side, but to suggest what he's suggesting implies the opposite as well, and it seems like he doesn't get that, which is weird.
Why are you with her? It doesn't make sense.
But I think you have trouble interfacing with other humans sometimes, or it seems like.
And I think you don't have enough trouble interfacing with other humans sometimes.
Okay, based.
See, just because you can help somebody manage their feelings, and just because they're saying they need you to, and even if they actually need you to, that doesn't necessarily mean you should.
Sure, but you're talking about an incredibly like hyperinflated situation. Like this is not like this isn't a situation where like your fucking partner actually farted in the movie theater and now they're upset about it and you're like, oh my god, like shut the fuck up, it's not that big of a deal. You're talking about wanting her to have sex with you're trying to force her to create a relationship contract where you can have sex with her like she's a doll once a month, and then you don't want her to be upset about it, and you don't want her to enjoy it at all either. Because if you know that she enjoys it, you're not going to want to do it. Like, these are two very different things.
Yeah, he doesn't
I
want
agree.
to know about it.
And those are boundaries that I'll set. Like, I'll tell somebody, it's usually for fighting,
See,
so I'm
it
doing it
feels
that
like
way.
this
But I'll be
guy
like, hey,
gets it,
like, if you need this,
but
if you need
then
me to, like,
he
manage this for you, then get the
doesn't
fuck out of
want
my
to
house and
address
never do
how
it,
it
right? There are,
actually
like,
is either.
things that I won't do. I can't do that. But there are things that I will do that I wouldn't expect somebody to do for me because I understand that I'm an exceptionally emotionally detached individual. But I would never, but if I walk through life trying to place the same expectations on other people that I would want them to place on me, I'm probably never going to find anybody ever, because people process things in different ways. That's just part of the decisions we have to make when we join into a relationship, right?
I agree. I do more of in this specific way, in the terms of helping the other person process their emotions. I do a little bit more of the lifting there.
But it's probably because you don't need help processing yours, right?
No, I do. I think I actually do, and I ask her for help with that, and she does help me with that. So it's not all one way. I do need help with that. But when it comes to this doll sex, I need a break. Daddy needs a break.
Well, no, you don't need a break. You need access to their body, and then for them to shut their emotions off. It's a way bigger ask than just saying, "I need a break."
No.
Right?
I don't want to shut her emotions off. I actually need her to not shut her emotions off.
Well, you need her to shut her emotions off from you. You don't want to engage with that. That's certain.
Right. I don't want her to dissociate, because that will cause problems. I think that's the concern, is that she'll do this by dissociating. That would not be okay with.
Bro, this whole thing doesn't make any sense. I don't understand how we're just walking past the fact that he said that he doesn't want her to enjoy it at all. The 10% is too much. What are you talking about? I feel like we're okay with it. Like, we're not even pressing him on like the fact that he's just like upfront like lying in Destiny. I don't really get it.
If I sense from looking at her lifeless,
it's because it just feels like he knows what he shouldn't say in the moment, so he's avoiding saying it to come off as like somehow he has like a defensible position here when it comes to her. Like, the way that he talks to Destiny is different than the way that he talks to women. Like he seems to like, if he doesn't respect somebody, which tends to be women, it seems, or people he perceives as women, like all of a sudden he just doesn't give a shit. But like when somebody else is like, I want, how do I frame this? How do I frame this to make it seem like what I'm saying is a defensible thing?
body that she's dissociated, then I will yell at her for a whole new thing. I need somebody to be taking.
Yeah, kind of. But when people have this kind of reaction to it, I think you do have to put some extra work into explaining it, because if you don't, then like what Papa Gut is saying is like all you're gonna get. You gotta say it in a bureaucratic way, I think, because people are gonna pick it apart and paint you as a monster if you don't. Like, what the fuck? I don't think it's bad to defend something that's defensible.
Taking care of Shaylin. I just
Like,
need
he
it
already
to
has
not
his
be
mind
me
made up, so any defense is just something bad.
once in a while.
You need like a threesome with like a caretaker to be touching her head while you're.
Yes, and explaining to her how she feels, and calling her a stupid bitch and telling her to shut up. Somebody needs to take the reins for 12 minutes.
Is close enough.
12 minutes a month.
Have you ever thought about just paying? Oh no, because you guys are gonna close it. Have you ever thought about just like paying a prostitute for this experience?
I can pay Shaylin for this experience.
No, you can't, because you don't have that. You can't just change your relationship with
I
her.
don't have that kind of money. We have a. I don't know. No. See, that's the thing. Is that the prostitute would have the same problem as the doll.
Which is.
It's not really giving me anything.
not for
The
him,
prostitute's
'cause
not really
it's, you
doing
know,
something
money.
for you. Like they kind of are, but it's
Do you feel like if somebody
I-
gives you like a blowjob, are they doing something for you, or are they doing it only because they love you, so it doesn't count as them doing something for you?
I think it depends on the blowjob. I've gotten blowjobs that felt like somebody was just trying to suck my soul out of me, and then I've gotten blowjobs that felt like they're doing a nice thing for me. I don't have a blanket interpretation of getting a blowjob.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still contest your overall view of the situation as unresolved, and that Shaylin said no. She said yes, and I got what I wanted, and I feel like this is a victory.
I don't think that should be the goal of those types of conversations, right?
Now, Mr. Girl doesn't do himself any favors by describing it this way. I think he does feel that way, but also it's not. He's just saying it in the most problematic way. I think.
Well, maybe that's the issue. Is you don't like my goal.
Yeah, I don't think you should be trying to win confrontations with a partner. I think that the goal
I'm
should
trying
be
to
that.
get something.
Yeah, but the goal should be that both of you walk away feeling that you've got something and you're both satisfied.
I don't want. That wasn't my goal. Yeah. So you just don't like my goal.
He doesn't want that. That's what he was going to say. Listen,
You should be trying to win confrontations with a partner. I think that the goal
I'm
should
trying
be
to
that.
get something.
Yeah, but the goal should be that both of you walk away feeling that you've gotten something and you're both satisfied.
I don't want that.
yeah, he doesn't want that. He doesn't want her to be satisfied. Like little
I think the problem here is the interpretation, like the understanding of the word win. I think this is actually, at this point, this is bad communication. The use of the word win here is just bad. I don't think Mr. Girl should have used it. While it's accurate to what he's saying, I think that using a different word here would have been a lot more beneficial to Destiny understanding what he's talking about,
bit of a slip there.
and way better to other people observing it. Oh, hey Sfaxon. Hey Emery. We talk shit on people and refuse to speak to that person extremely cowardly most times. Hey, is Pop here or extra meta? Yeah, it's extra meta. I didn't know. So I didn't even know who Papa Gut was before today. This just got put into my algo. I saw it and I was like, oh. I watched like 30 seconds of it. I was like, okay, I was gonna stream today anyways. I'll watch this. And I didn't know that he was gonna be watching this whole thing. So yeah, it's like a meta react that I didn't know I was going to. Watching Max and Steve back in the day. I have a lot of this guy is like, at least it seems like to me, I don't know anything about him, but he's been like, it seems like he had his mind made up, and then everything that follows, like everything that followed is just him. He's automatically taking everything that Mr. Girl says and shaping it in the way that is going to fit the way that he already decided he's going to feel about this. It's I know the man, the myth, the gut. It just feels really like it kind of gross to me. I don't like it when people do that when they're casting judgment on another person. Like this is about as closed-minded of an interpretation as I've seen.
He's not looking for that.
And I've talked to a lot of people about the doll review. A lot of them who disagreed with me, and I've seen like every person that I've talked to while starting the conversation, ending the conversation, disagreeing with me, sometimes even more, and sometimes a little less. They have all been immensely more charitable to the ideas, at least, even if they ultimately disagreed, than Papa Guts being. I feel like this is the kind of guy that can't actually. This is just a guess, but I feel like he would be extremely difficult to have a debate with because of this kind of reasoning in the way that he's going about this analysis. I feel like it would just like, I feel like anything that I tried to bring, if I had a debate with this kind of person, a person who uses these kinds of ways of understanding, like I guess if this is how he approaches things in general, and he brought this approach to a debate, it makes it almost impossible to debate anything with, because nothing you say that would be contrary to what he already thinks will land at all. So it's just going to be you like trying to get a point across, have like basically no engagement with it, and then you're just sort of like explaining why you don't agree with them the entire time. Anytime I've ever had grievance with Mr. Girl, I don't feel shy challenging him on that. Yeah, I seen you on the hotline, by the way, and it's the first time I've ever known that it was you when you were talking to him, and I never knew that was like your voice. So it was kind of like a big shocker for me. It was cool. It was cool though. I was like, oh, that's Emery. Okay, because I've heard you on there before, but I didn't know it was you.
He wants her to actively be unsatisfied.
Wasn't my goal. Yeah. So
you really didn't give up either.
Well, from a business perspective, sure, but from a relationship perspective, like, it just seems not healthy for both parties. Like, if Shaylin was trying to extract something from you like that, like, you would probably walk away feeling awful, right?
It wouldn't be an extraction. That's the thing, is that I would just answer her question.
Oh, like, you would just say no,
right? I'd say yes, or I would say no.
Okay.
Or I would say I need to think about this. Or
Okay.
I would say I have some
Yeah.
clarifying questions to make sure I know what I'm agreeing to. But whatever I said, I would give her the clear sense that I am figuring out for myself what I'm okay with, and I will return with an answer for you, and you'll know clearly where you stand. Again, I reject the notion that Shaylin is saying no to the sex act, or that she has even any particular reservations about the act itself. She just doesn't like making agreements.
I disagree,
Yeah,
but you know her way
I
better
know.
than I do.
I
Yeah. So,
disagree, too.
like, it feels to me like she
No,
does,
I just want to talk about it. You don't worry better than I do. No, disagree. That's not what the situation tells us. It's like we experienced the situation by watching that, and he's just describing something different. And then you were like, yeah, I guess I just don't like. I disagree, but also I don't know her. Like, no, it has nothing to do with that. Like, we watched it in real time. Like, he's a fucking scumbag.
I might have to go get my dog.
doesn't have
next
any
time.
problems with the act itself.
Papa Gut is lazy with his hatred. Same when people in Discord politics server thought I was Mr. Girl. They were so crazy and hateful. Unreal month. Yeah, I don't really know how people in politics are. I was there for a while, like several years ago, and I might have had some debates or something, and I don't remember. I remember that like I disengaged from that Discord server.
But she's trying to figure out, like, emotionally where both of you are going to be standing before and after the act.
She's
Like,
trying to control where we're going to be staying. She's not trying to figure it out.
she is
She's
trying to control, but that's because she's one of the members of this interaction. So of course she wants some kind of control.
Oh,
over
let me
where things
be
go.
clear. When I call Shaylin controlling, I'm not. My problem isn't that she is exerting control. It's the way she's exerting control. It's that she's underhandedly trying to control it.
How do you feel like
She's
it's
being-
underhanded? Like, what in what way? What do you mean by that?
Well, if what you're trying to say is, hey, listen, I want to provide this thing for you, but I have to be honest. I'm a little scared and feeling a little abandoned by the prospect of you completely, detaching from attuning to me. Because as we both know, I'm kind of an unstable bitch, and as an unstable bitch, I need you to be somewhat more attuned to me than you normally.
See, this is like the really weird thing. It's like this respectability.
sense,
He
yes.
made a similar argument to this before, and it's like it's honestly it's so fucking stupid. Before when
Why?
when I watched that other video, he was saying something to her along the lines of like, she's like, I don't want to do this anymore, and he was going after her because she didn't say it the right way. He was like, what you should have said is, hey, listen, I understand that you're trying to do this really great art project, when he was talking about like doing their fucking like video together, but maybe some part of it makes me upset. And I get that, I want to be supportive, but it kind of upsets me. Like, he wants her to be like, so it's not that she's not controlling in the right way. She's not stroking his ego enough. And she's not taking enough of the blame for not wanting to be put in a situation that nobody would want to be put in. Right? Right? He has an unrealistic expectation of, hey, let's have a conversation on stream where I didn't even tell you we were going to have this conversation, by the way, about how, like, I'm creating a sexual relationship contract. Right? That's what he did. He's like, yeah, we're just going to talk about your experience with a doll, which has already seemed like a boundary pusher for her. And then what he did is he fucking shanghaied her, and she's like, okay, he goes, I actually want to talk about making a contract, a sexual contract, with no prompt.
Now, if it was live streamed, I would be like, this is super fucked. Pump the brakes. No, absolutely not. That would have been legitimately abusive, and a lot of the critiques that people give about the video, in that regard, I would probably be more vocal than most. Particularly because I'm a big fan of Mr. Girl. I would be appalled, but it wasn't. It was a prepared video that she could. We know this. We know that she could have said, hey, I don't want it to be in the video, and it wouldn't have been in the video. So it's just not the case that this is something that can be used as like a bludgeon in this argument. I don't accept it at all. It is not like she had no recourse to stop people from seeing this, or to like just be agreeable because she's like on the spot in front of an audience. That was not how it was.
On camera. And then when she's like, I don't really want
It's clear that at the time she said she doesn't want it to be in the video, which is understandable. That's fine. But if she still held to that afterwards and then he put it out, again, be bad. It'd be really bad, and I'd be pissed off about it. But this is clearly not the case. We know this now.
to do this. He's like, oh, well, you didn't tell me you didn't want to do this in the right way. Like, this is the thing. To me, I interpret this as it's always going to be a shifting of the goalpost. He's always going to be able to supply us with a hypothetical scenario where like, well, if she just did it this way, it would have been okay. Regardless of what happens, like that just seems he's always going to be able to supply that, and it's always going to be. And if she did do that, I doubt that he would accept it, and he would just shift the goalposts even further.
See,
Like,
look at that. And then if it is the way that I'm saying that would be good, then he would have done it in the bad way. Like, this is. It feels like this guy's going for like maximum, like uncharitability here. I was just a gentle Winnie the Pooh before, but you got that exclusion from Birth Discord server. The infantilization of Shaylin has been baffling to me. Yeah. Well, you know what? It depends on how much people have seen. If you've only seen her from the videos, I understand how somebody could take away from just seeing Mr. Girl's videos with her that she can't. What's the word? It's like advocate for herself and things like that. I understand how people could get that. I probably wouldn't think that, but it is actually reasonable to get that. But if you're keeping up with the things that have been said by her, then it's very, very clear that Shaylin can absolutely advocate for herself. And it becomes very infantilizing, especially when she has explicitly complained about this sort of behavior towards her. Like, when it comes to a situation like this, and the woman speaks up, like, I'm going to believe her. I'm just going to. I have no reason not to. It's not like there's been any history of domestic abuse that we know of, like, between them two or anything like that. I have no reason to think that Shaylin is going to publicly lie on his behalf or anything like that. And if somebody's going to say that, then I think you need a good justification for saying that. But basically, people's justification is just that, well, I'm right, and I just don't. I don't have to take her word for it because I know better than her about her, and it is grossly infantilizing. But I'm not shocked by it, like you're saying, Emery. But it always triggers me when I hear people say stuff like that because I have that difference of opinion. So it feels. I think I have an initial reaction to it similarly to if I didn't understand it, because I think part of my brain just expects people to know that stuff that she has said. Although I would say that unless there is a reason from that person, then you probably shouldn't be so like definitive with it because you just don't know.
like she would have had this.
Baby was in the shareholders meeting with Mr. Girl on Sunday. I pointed out to him that his assurances that he and others would come visit me and other Discord servers was not at all true, sadly. People just make shit up when they know they can and get away with it. That's true. I gotta use the restroom for a minute. Oh shoot, I'm on YouTube. I can't. I was gonna put on some music for you guys. I don't super badly want to let it play while I'm gone. But I'm not gonna be gone that long, so I'm gonna if I was just on Kick, I'd just play music for you guys. But since I'm not, I'm gonna let this play. Let me just pop that off. Okay, I'll be right back.
This time she would have had
Ah, shit. I muted the wrong side. God damn it. Well, I'm gonna go back anyways. This guy triggered the fuck out of me. Still had my headset on.
Hey, you know what? If you're not ready for it, we don't have to do it. It does. That doesn't. That's not the energy at all that we're getting. It just seems like you just constantly berating her, and then when she gives you an answer, it's not good enough. And you like the way that you're describing it. Oh, you're so reasonable. This isn't the way that you interacted with her. Like it's just like it's like a fucking gaslight.
She didn't say yes to the conversation. She didn't say no to the conversation.
Yeah, okay.
She just leaves me in this
So here's
hell.
Yeah. So what do you think is happening? What do you think is the problem? It's pretty simple, I think.
I think there was a problem where the conversation about the interview, I think, is a metaphor for
Just
how
the fact that in the interview she said she didn't want any of that to be posted, and he still posted it, is annoying to me. And I guarantee
already covered that, why that's
he
stupid.
eventually just berated her until
Oh,
she
what
said,
do we got here in chat? That's not true. Sadly, people just... Oh, yeah. Pop Pop is white knighting for Shay Shay, a.k.a. Mrs. Mr. Girl. People cannot see Max as an artist of high regard, so Papa can't believe Shaylin could be strong and based queen. I'll carry Yoki for chat. Yeah, that's actually a really good summary of it, I think.
okay, fine, you could post it. That's the thing. I guarantee you.
I already said why I think
could
this
be
is
wrong,
dumb.
but I don't think that's what happened. He put her in a situation where she got really upset, and then after she was like, "Please don't post this," and then she said that in the video, and then later he's like, "Oh, we should post it. It's this, is that. Oh, you know how hard I work for this art project, right?" Because he thinks he's very artistic. Guarantee you that's the interaction. So he forces her to like go past another boundary that she doesn't want to go past, and now it's to the point where she doesn't want to talk about this situation publicly. Like she's being used as like a fucking like an art project, as like an experiment. It's fucking crazy.
feels during sex, and she doesn't
Okay, wait,
explicitly
hold on.
think.
Too complicated. So this is my feeling. You can tell me if you think about it wrong, okay? I feel like her problem is that she doesn't know where she wants to set her boundaries, and she's kind of hoping that you'll help her figure that out. And you're
I
frustrated
don't
because
think
you're not having a
that's it at
conversation with
all.
her.
I don't think that Destiny's interpretation of this is the worst one here. And I think this is important. He says, I don't think so at all. And then he's going to change it, like right afterwards. This is crazy to me.
Trying to figure out where her boundaries are. You're making an ask, and you want her to already come to the table with that solved. Like,
Okay.
you want her to be able to come to the table and say, like, yes or no. Don't ask me these dumb fucking questions, Shaylin. We don't need to have this other random shit. Just tell me what you want, or tell me what you don't want, and then boom. But she's coming to you, yeah, we're in a bit more of a undecided state. And her trying to navigate her feelings and yours simultaneously are different when she's trying to, because she's trying to advocate on her behalf and your behalf. But
You
you're
give
only
these
pushing
women
against it.
so much charity.
Actually, I think that was a pretty decent interpretation. Listening to that.
All he did was elaborate on what he was saying when Gutty over here was like, I don't think it's it at all. But now since it disagrees with Mr. Girl, like, it's pretty good, I guess. Okay.
The fact that you said you give these women so much charity is bizarre. Like, you're asking to do something that seems like, well, very fucking boundary pushing, but it's very uncomfortable, and you don't want to help her navigate that. Like, that'd be like if I was like let's say I wanted to have like anal with my wife, and I'm like, I want to fuck you in the ass. Tell me yes or no. You know I like it, and so I don't want you to enjoy it. And then and she's just like, oh well, let's try to navigate the way that I feel about that. And I'm like, no, I want you to already know how you feel about it, but I also want a yes. And if you say yes now, this is just how it's going to be, and we're going to do it in contractually. Like, even if you're not in the mood for this, you've
Why does
already
he keep
told
hopping
me
back to
once a
this?
month. We've already created the stipulation that's once a month. You have to adhere to that. That is
Asking somebody to commit to something isn't the same as saying you can never revoke your consent here. If somebody can send me a clip or something to show that I'm wrong, I'd be happy to see it. But I don't think there was at any point in there where Mr. Girl said, you cannot change your mind about this. It has to be like this. Once you say yes, it's gonna happen. But Papa Gut here keeps like really hammering on this point that he's like trying to like lock her into this to where there's like no escape from it. It's so
it's
weird.
like an objective fact. Like, that's just how we're going to do these things now. That's what it sounds a lot more like.
No,
can't
actually,
believe-
I'll be totally honest with you. I literally just had this huge problem like 3 days ago in my relationship where I'm really bad at asserting boundaries. And I literally now I can speak from shameless record. I literally had the exact same issue where I'll have problems where people will. Here's a personal thing that I've just recently figured this out. I don't know how the fuck it took me so long. But when I get into conflicts in relationships, my thing is usually I'll withdraw or I'll start lying. These are the two things that I'll do because I just don't want to like interface with the person. They're irritating me. And what I found out was that there are some boundaries that I have in a relationship. Now usually these are more passive, like don't ask me this or don't talk to me this or act this or do this particular thing, right? And this is like a need that I have. That before I thought I didn't care, but now I'm like actually I have this need. But when the other person isn't aware that those boundaries exist, they're just kind of existing in a state where they're kind of pushing, pulling, trying to figure shit out, and then I'm getting triggered, and now everything is getting fucked up because I'm not doing a good job at asserting boundaries, right? So oftentimes in relationships, people will blame the aggressor when in reality the person failing to assert themselves can be just as much responsible for everything else because their lack of having clear boundaries means that the other person doesn't know when to push and not push. The other person doesn't know what's safe to go into, and then the person with the boundaries doesn't know how to negotiate.
It's insane that like he's being just the framing of this is fucking. I understand what he's saying, but this just doesn't apply to Mr. Girl. He's being a fucking piece of shit. But okay, sure.
Any interactions because they're
Well,
randomly
it
getting
just
upset as
doesn't
well,
because I said it doesn't apply.
I
Okay.
understand what you're saying about yourself,
Okay.
and I believe you.
But you don't think Shaylin has trouble asserting her boundaries?
Like, this is like a remarkable example of bad faith. Just like nothing could possibly ever be interpreted as okay on Mr. Girl's end here. Like every single time that there's a point that can be made to go like he's awful, he's like just hopping right on it. It's
Boundaries.
It seems to be the case that the intention of this video is just for him to take that route. And that's what I think is bad. I don't care that he disagrees. That's fine. Like I know a ton of people that disagree with Mr. Girl, a ton of people that disagree with my interpretations about things involving Mr. Girl. This is a very common thing. That doesn't usually get me very agitated, but this kind of behavior where and at every point where you can be like, fuck this guy, that's just all he's doing. Why is Papa Gut acting like Mr. Girl made her sign a free use contract when she can never revoke consent? Yeah, dude, I swear it's fucking wild. Faxon, I'm not reading that, but people can see it.
Shaylin is not like you in this sense.
Okay.
I think you're assuming that Shaylin is trying to figure out where her boundaries are and then assert them. And that I don't believe that is happening. I believe that Shaylin and many of these other women that you and I come across and disagree about get a lot of power by not having boundaries and not asserting those boundaries. Because when you tell someone your boundary, what you're not.
What he's trying to say is that these women not setting boundaries, they're being manipulative. Very base take. Very incredible. What an incredible take. What are you talking about? This is fucking psychotic. This is a situation where there's nothing that a normal person can do to be perceived as doing the right thing. Like, women are just fucking idiots regardless, and anytime they don't assert power, it's always like a power grab from their point. Like, they're always trying to like emasculate him. Maybe that's where it all comes from. Maybe he thinks that every interaction he has with a woman is in some capacity emasculating. Very clearly he has like a problem. Well, he's not a real man because he's a fucking abusive person.
Very clearly.
You can't be a real man if you're abusive to women.
And then says things that are very
is that
open
where it
to
comes from? Like
interpretation.
his like fucking issues where he just feels like he's not a real man. You know, why does your partner have to Like your whole logic like turns on you. Like you don't know how to deal with the fact that you constantly think that your masculinity is questioned. That's a you problem. And yet you're asserting that onto her every single time and making it seem like she doesn't know what she wants. It's fucking bizarre, dude. I mean, like what is
Is Papa Gut not assuming that he knows what Shaylin wants? It seems like he said really consistently that he knows better than what she has stated in the video that she's okay with, and post video as well. So Mr. Girl couldn't possibly interpret his partner's words accurately, but Papa Gut, he actually knows what's going on here. He has the super big brained insight into the minds of probably not just Shaylin, but women everywhere, right? This is the kind of extrapolating that's happening here. It's very bizarre
Jesus
to me.
Christ.
Not just saying everything on this side of the line is not okay. You're also saying everything on this side of the line is okay.
Yes.
And so all these other tools you have, like arguing and figuring things out and explaining and writing.
And it's really weird too that he says that sometimes him and his wife do CNC. Like, then he should understand that like these kinds of interactions. I don't hate on CNC at all. You can do whatever you want. I don't give a shit. I couldn't care less what other people choose to do. So he should just understand quite clearly that there is a nuance to these kinds of conversations that you can't just brush over all the details and assert that you know what's correct. It's just so crazy to me. Assuming that he has had reasonable, like well-attuned conversations with his wife about them doing that. It's so weird.
Narratives and co-authoring narratives and problem solving and all these other ways that you exert power and get power in relationships and conversations. Shaylin, as you saw, Shaylin got angry and did use those. She does have those tools, but that's not where she gets most of her power. Shaylin gets her power from the dark arts. She's on the dark side. And when she so to me, things like setting boundaries, so like lying and withdrawing, I would say those are dark side powers that you're using.
Sure.
Light side powers are more like setting boundaries, problem solving, arguing, saying what you want, being explicit and direct and above board. Shaylin gets a lot of her strength now from the dark side. So she does things like not setting boundaries, asking questions that make no sense.
Bro, this is like a borderline cultist speech. Like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, this is like a religious cultist speech. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, is he turning like Star Wars into like incel Star Wars logic? This is fucking insane.
Pretending to be confused,
Yeah, but like,
sobbing loudly from the other room.
Yeah, I agree, but like,
Okay.
sure. But
She's not trying to figure out. She's not trying to figure out what you're just assuming this like extremely well-intentioned like goal of hers, but she doesn't.
I'm not saying that there's like this intentional, like something that she said. So
I remember he said something about how she tries to make him look abusive when they have videos together. But he is abusive. Like, that's just a fact.
It's just a fact.
So what
you
it
guys.
seems
it's
like
just a fact.
to me, and this actually seems pretty consistent with who he is. It seems like he has this idea. Like he has a perspective really on the world. And if you don't,
This guy clearly doesn't know anything about Mr. Girl if he thinks Mr. Girl's abuse comes from feelings of wanting to live up to masculine values. Yeah, this whole video is
align
really
with it,
weird.
it's your fault. So like what I'm trying to say is the boss invisible? What the fuck? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Weird. I'm fucking super confused right now. Sorry. What he's trying to say is that like he's being abusive to get what he wants, but he doesn't perceive it that way because he doesn't think that he can do anything wrong. And so he puts her in this situation, and because he comes off as abusive by trying to express himself because he is abusive, that's somehow her fault for not giving him what he wants. So she makes him look abusive by him being abusive. It's so fucking bizarre. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's the energy I'm getting here.
This is why I think that she is doing this. Is she made a statement when you guys were talking, saying that like, she feels like she has to do this. She feels like she has to make a decision, and you're like,
yeah,
and you don't know like why. Why do you feel that way? Like, it seems like you're asking her, like, what do you mean you have to do this? What do you think she means when she's saying that? Like,
he's forcing her to make a decision. That's why he's asking her.
Like, no, you don't.
Wait, if you're asking that, there's a clear indication that if you're saying, why do you feel that way? What you're also saying is that you don't have to make a decision. That's the reason why you would ask. If you did, if it's understood that you do have to make a decision, it wouldn't make any sense to ask, why do you feel that way? This seems actually obvious. That's what the purpose of saying that is to somebody. It's saying, I'm confused, hence I'm going to ask you this. And the reason why I'm confused and have to ask this is because this isn't the case. Many people know people close to them who got the hose again kind of thing. Welker is the other chat FFs. I don't know what Welker is.
I think she is saying, in order to maintain the image
I can't deal with this
that I
shit.
want on your channel and with your fans.
No, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you think that, then there's like, because I'm interpreting everything both of you are saying and like the best.
So he thinks that she's being so bad faith that to just break up with her. Then there's literally no reason that you should be with her. If you think that she like when she frames these things, it's some manipulation tactic to make you look bad in front of your like fucking fans.
Oh yeah. I'm not 100% sure. I think my wife's right. I'm gonna cancel on her. If that's the case, I'll have to go. But I'm gonna come back to this like shortly after I get home.
It's like that's fucking psychotic that you think
She doesn't
that.
work that far
Just
away.
leave this fucking person then. If you truly believe that, if you actually are being like unironic about that, just leave her. Like that's insane.
Best light possible. But if you think she's just saying,
I know. No. You're interpreting everything she says in the best light possible.
no,
I'm telling
both of you,
she's
both
a-
of you.
Also, I don't like this guy. Everything that he just said seems super bad and toxic. Like I can't ever imagine saying like, well, you just shouldn't be together then. Like God, there's like nothing constructive about anything that he's saying. That's what I don't like about it. Like I have advised somebody to break up with their significant other for like really good reasons. But there's like nothing like constructive here about it. He's basically just saying like, well, you're a piece of shit, so just leave her. You should be looking out for her by leaving her because you're that terrible.
This would be a way different conversation if I was not being charitable to you as well. Okay.
She's a demon.
I mean, you're pretty demonic as well. If I was
I
to
don't think
interpret you,
so.
absolutely.
So somebody has said this like 4 times in chat. I'll read.
Oh, say what you want about Destiny, but he delivered the best content with Mr. Grill because he wasn't so bad faith, close-minded. Yeah, dude. 100%. I'd love to co-pilot then. Trust, no one ever gets Mr. Grill. Yeah, I know. But well, it's like Emery said though. There is a level of engagement in which people can have that is still good faith. Like you can disagree with Mr. Grill, or you can disagree with my interpretations of like content Mr. Grill's put out or things that he said and done, and you're never gonna get this level of like pushback from me. You're never gonna get me saying the kinds of things I'm saying on like while I'm watching this. But it's like unreal levels of bad faith. Emery hit it right on the head. Is it like you guys seem like you're a bit more familiar with Papa Gut? Is he always like this? Because Jesus Christ, it seems like his numbers aren't terrible. It's weird that I've never heard of him until today, but like I just don't. I don't understand the purpose of making content if that's how you're going to behave. When you get back, it's actually good for you to watch all of this, to soak. It's actually good for you to watch all of this, to soak marinade first.
Read it for you, okay? Someone asked Mr. Girl why he doesn't leave her.
He loves
Someone asked
her.
Mr. Girl why doesn't he leave? Is he what the fuck, Mr. Girl? Why doesn't he leave? Is he calls his girlfriend abusive? Okay, if you could have at least spell checked if you're gonna send it to me 6 times. If he calls his
Jesus
girlfriend
Christ.
abusive and a demon, and his response is there's always gonna be conflict in a relationship. See, this is what I'm talking about. He does this a lot, where like there'll be a situation that's presented, and then he'll apply fundamental logic to his like very extreme scenario. Like he's done it so many times. I'll point it out again next time he does it. But he's like a pattern of him doing this, where he's like, yeah, but fundamentally, it's like, yes, fundamentally, but that doesn't mean it applies here. Well, you're talking about fundamentals when you're proposing like a hyper outlier. Why don't you just leave her? Like he should, or she should really leave him too. I don't really understand why she stays with him. Which is one of the questions I asked. Like, does he? I wonder if he actually disconnected her from her friends and from her family in order to have this situation where it's just the two of them together. I wonder if that's something that he's done.
I don't think so.
Absolutely,
Christ.
for
I'm an
sure.
angel. No,
You're
I don't think so.
you're very charismatic. You have a really good way of spinning every single emotional complaint she makes into a hypothetical attack against you that then becomes an attack that you can use against her.
Why would you call him? Why are you calling him charismatic for that? That's manipulative. It's abusive. What are you talking about? I mean, listen. I'm sure he's just trying to keep the conversation going. I guess, but like, holy fuck, just tell him like, yeah, that's not.
Okay, so charisma does not imply, like good faithness, right? Like this is such a good example of this guy just like going hard as fuck into the bad faith as he possibly can. That's not a contentious thing to say, even if you think all the things that he thinks about Mr. Girl. He's just taking another opportunity to be like, fuck this guy. He's so terrible. He's so bad. Destiny used the right word here in protest of Mr. Girl's actions from coming from where he's at with it.
That's not charisma. That's manipulation. Like, what the fuck are these framing to me? It's just bizarre to me. It's bizarre.
Charismatic people are really good at manipulating. That's kind of my point. Oh, sorry for the alarm.
It's fucking crazy.
It's not contradictory. But you'll take it as contradictory if you're
saying
just
she
trying
doesn't
to
truly
make the
believe
person
she
look
does for the
bad.
reasons that she says she does.
Maybe I'm getting too triggered.
Or that she's just using it to like control you. And then when she has an emotional
Yeah, you
outburst, you
fucking
also assume
think.
that that's a form of manipulation, and then you manipulate her by pretending she's manipulating you. And then you bring it all back at the end with like either like a hug or something else, like, oh look, we're good, it's cool, or whatever. Right? These are all like theoretically. If I frame it that way, these are all theoretically like emotionally
I guess, but it doesn't make any
manipulative.
sense. Like you can do that, but it doesn't make any sense because she agreed to the plan immediately.
No, but
and
that's
without
like
complaint.
you understand. This is why I don't like conversation about rape. Okay, it's so easy.
No, she didn't. Not at all. She didn't even want to have the conversation. She expressed that. Is this guy fucking dumb?
Oh, I see what you're saying, Sfaxon. If I watch it first, I'm gonna forget everything though. Yeah, he's apathetic to people he dislikes at best and very hateful at worst. Just like, for example, Boogie, he seems to have content brain when talking about him, seems attached. Papa might have been big time scumbag, younger Papa. I want to watch that Boogie thing. I heard so many people say some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life in regards to the Boogie thing, but I haven't seen the Boogie thing. But in like regards to him and his girlfriend, so like I gotta see it just to see if like the people that I seen talking about it are actually retarded or not. But I feel like some of the stuff they said is indefensible either way.
I would ask if he's autistic, but I feel like that's just like insulting autistic people. I think that he's
Oh
just
my
fucking he's like a
God.
sociopath or something, or he's like psychotic. Like he just doesn't care about people.
To get people to do things that they don't want to do, that they will agree to it. That's why I don't like the concept of like consent or even enthusiastic consent. There are so many things that you can get people to agree to without
Well, I
them.
agree with
Would
you.
I
No,
talk to
agree.
Mr. Girl about the opportunity? I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to. Like I don't know what the benefit would be. He's a worthless piece of shit.
A worthless.
Like he's
piece
not a
of shit.
real like he's not a
Jesus.
good person and he's not a real man. Like he's like a dog shit individual. Like he's worthless. So I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I don't know if I'd want to. I'm gonna tell him that you're like abusive piece of shit. Like what am I gonna do? And it's gonna be a conversation where he's going to engage in a way where like he already knows what to say to try to make it to phrase it in a better way. Even though he's like wholly inaccurate about his phrasing. For what? So that like he can get like a dunk on me, or he thinks he gets a dunk on me from his dumb fuck like abusive audience of people who don't
Yeah,
respect
Mr.
him. I
Girl's
don't really
always
know
going for the
what would be the
dunks.
benefit here. Watching his videos and seeing how he acts when he's not prompted by another person, when he's not like interacting with another person, is more revealing than anything else. There's nothing to press him on in a conversation because he's just a manipulative person. So like I don't think it would really be beneficial to do any of this. We were literally observing him in his natural state here. So you know.
Yeah, in front of an audience.
Agree with you there.
Yeah, so like
But in this conversation, the conversation did not break down when I asked her the question.
Natural.
The conversation broke down when I would not let go of calling her controlling.
But her method of controlling was her trying to get some control over like her emotions in that situation and how you were engaging with them. That was where the
Yes,
control
and the
was.
way she was trying to get control over that was by asking nonsensical questions.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if somebody is looking for, if we can, like,
that's my whole
let's,
problem.
Sure, but like, let's let's say instead we take a more impressionistic view of language and not like a discrete, like these are the words you're saying. It sounds like what she's saying there. She's not saying like, can we figure out the dates of the month that this would be the most adequate time for you to free use my body? What she's doing is like saying like, hey, okay, I think I can do this, but I feel like really emotional right now, and I want some sort of like emotional reassurance from you that we're like on the same page. And that's what she's looking for. Yeah.
I know. We both understand that.
Then why can't you just do that or give that to her?
Because I don't fucking want to. That's the whole thing I'm saying in the first place. Is I don't want to change my entire lens for looking at language to an impressionistic one, so that I can give you squeeze some extra fucking charity juice out of myself to make it okay for you to underhandedly try to get me to reassure you.
Underhanded.
It is absolutely underhanded. It is absolutely underhanded to ask a fake question to get somebody to take care of you. I think it's completely underhanded, at least for me. Okay, so maybe
if I go to like a doctor, if I go to like a doctor, if I've got a thing coming up, right, and I'm sitting there and I ask something, and I'm like,
so I have no idea if that's the case or not. But I can say that what Mr. Girl is saying is a reasonable stance to take. I don't think that there's anything about it that like would suggest that it's an unreasonable position to take coming from his position in it. Calling Mr. Girl manipulative is retarded, especially in the presence of Destiny. Nailed it. Papa confession.
Is this gonna hurt? What a fucking stupid question. Like, like if you were a doctor, you would look at me and you would go, this is a fucking cancer biopsy, Steven. Is it gonna hurt? If I say yes, are you gonna fucking cancel the operation? You stupid fuck. Why would you even ask me? Such a waste of fucking time, right? That's what you're saying. And I would say, okay, well, I was just like looking for a little bit of emotional reassurance. I'm sorry, right? That would be the issue.
I understand how to do what you're asking me to do.
Yeah, sure.
I'm saying I don't want to. I don't want to take care of Shaylin. I don't want to be her fucking doctor. I want to fuck her corpse. I don't want to be her doctor. The whole point of the conversation is.
Yeah, see, there you go. He's a fucking rapist, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't want to have to lie.
I'm pretty sure we're at a point now where like he would probably rape somebody if he could get away with it, but like he doesn't feel like it's socially acceptable, so he changes. So he won't just outright say it, you know?
Yeah, because he wants to have sex that he thinks is for him, and he wants to relay still. That seems very comparable to robbing somebody of their agency and raping them. Fuck this guy, dude. Oh my god.
To you or manage you. I don't want to manage your feelings in this conversation. I don't want to manage them. Okay, one thing I've been saying to her a lot is, when you want me to parent you, I need you to explicitly ask me to parent you. I don't want you to try to get me to.
Yeah, but even at that, you need to use different words because nobody wants to feel like she's not really asking to parent you. She's just asking for some help.
She is. No, it's
from
fine.
your perspective. But from other people's perspectives, they're gonna say, "I just want you to be a normal, caring partner that's like has an investment in my feelings."
Fuck that. No, so I don't want appeals to normality. See, this is what I see in a lot of responses to this.
Interesting. So like, no, I Destiny what Destiny is saying makes a lot of sense. Like she's asking for very normal human things, and he berates her by calling it childish in some capacity. I don't want to parent you. It's not really parenting. That's just like a normal person. That's like, hey, it's just normal human interaction. No, it's parenting. Like that's effectively what's happening here.
Why is it berating
Fucking
if that's
crazy.
how he feels
Why is
about
it 25K now when it was 24?
This.
People do this thing
I see
a lot
people
with
just being like,
Mr.
well, why can't you
Girl,
just be normal? I'm like, well, okay.
where if somebody else does the thing, it's fine, but if Mr. Girl does it, it's automatically like some fucked up, terrible, like worst case version of the thing. That drives me crazy. And it's so common. This has to be the dumbest take Papa Gut could have said. Yeah, dude. Yes. I think that was remarkably stupid.
Being normal means the man just is parents the woman. That's what you mean by normal. That's what the default is, and I don't want that. I don't want that for my relationship.
The reason why that's great. And listen, I said the exact same things to Belina. She'll say like, "Hey, like this is like a normal thing. Why can't you do this?" And I'll say, "Well, if you want a normal thing, go find a normal guy because that's not what the fuck I'm here for." So I understand. I can empathize with you there, but you have to be aware of where the normal spectrum lies so that you can understand when you're making requests that are way outside the norm.
I absolutely understand that I am making a request that is outside the norm, and when I say. When my
it's not even just outside the norm. It's like way outside the norm.
Friend wants me to become her dad. She has to actually know that that's what she is doing and say that. And so
if
she had said in the conversation, "Hey, can you take care of me for a second? I feel freaked out about this." I might have said yes.
You wouldn't have said yes. Again, it's just
oh my god.
It's a goal shift. I might have been reasonable if she was like, yes, if she's like hyper aware of everything about me. If she does the exact thing I want. If she expresses her emotions exactly how I'm saying I want. It wouldn't happen. No, it wouldn't. Like you're shifting the goalpost. There's no winning solution.
This guy's omniscient.
It's ever. This is fucking stupid as shit.
or I might have said no. I would have been free to say no or yes, as I see fit. I would have been able to set my own boundaries. But by blurring her request
that's why
and by
you
saying,
fixed it.
no, you've already agreed to this.
Sheesh.
You've
Okay.
already agreed to take care of me. And the way I'm going to ask you is by asking stupid questions that make no sense and sobbing in the other room. No. Then I don't want to. I need explicitness.
Sure, I
I need-
understand.
I
I'm
need-
I think that the realization that you have to have that.
I will say this. I think the point at which Mr. Girl is most easily condemnable in the whole doll review video is when Shaylin goes and cries in the other room and he laughs. However, I also think anybody who has ever been in a big fight with somebody that they have had a long-term relationship with knows, I don't care if you don't think, if you've never felt that way, then you have not been in a long-term relationship with somebody that you have seen their best and worst sides of. Because I thought it was bad that he laughed, but at the same time, I 150% understood why that was happening. That was the easiest part of that video to empathize with, while also being the easiest to condemn. Yeah, it stems from the character assassinations. People have been primed to assume the worst. Yeah. Does he realize that Destiny agrees with just about every take that Mr. Girl injected? That's he's been doing this the whole time. Whenever Destiny seems like he's agreeing with Mr. Girl, Papa Gut doesn't say anything, but like he'll wait until there's that moment to like agree. Like he switched his position once he realized that Destiny wasn't agreeing with Mr. Girl that one part. But yeah, Destiny has agreed with almost everything. Both actions in the video are for reaction. What do you mean both actions in the video? Like Mr. Girl and Destiny? Yeah, the way that Mr. Girl's talking about this is a bit performative because the camera's on. So he's saying things in a funnier way or more extreme way or whatever, because that's how he does camera stuff. And it's very difficult for me to believe that Papa Gut is actually doing anything meaningful when he's reacting to this. It doesn't feel like he's really examining it. It doesn't feel like he's taking anything in and sort of like reflecting against like the process that he would use to make any like critical judgments about. And if he's willing to condemn Mr. Girl this hard, Big C, you have a great point. He should be even more so condemning Destiny, since he said like Mr. Girl is basically just a huge piece of shit, unredeemable. Than to have Destiny come in and agree with him like he has been, unless he thinks the same of Destiny, which he's been not saying. He should be even more condemning of him for then encouraging it and propagating it then as well. But that doesn't seem like it's the case. Oh, yeah, I would say the funny thing about it is that I feel like Mr. Girl's performance in the doll review during their thing, if I had to make an absolute total guess, I would say that the most performative part about it for him is likely going to be that he is pushing for himself really hard to not perform, which would inevitably still be a performance. Because like the big thing about like the him and Shaylin dynamic is he wants to not cut out the ugly bits. So I think that when you do that, there's going to be a part of you that's trying so hard to not regulate yourself for it that you're gonna inevitably run into things like where you're being a bit more harsh than you would normally be. But still, I really think that if you've been in a long-term relationship with somebody and you get into like a big fight, like you had to have had a moment where like the other person's super upset and like you're just like so over the top, like done with it, where like you just laugh, where like you think you know what they're doing and all that, and you just yeah, like I said, it is the most condemnable and the most easily relatable part of that video for me.
Then is that what you're looking for? One, she might not be able to even rise to that standard. I don't even want to say
But
rise.
she did.
Probably no, she
But she
didn't.
eventually did.
After crying in another room and trying
Yes,
to
no,
manipulate you,
like, yes, if you want to, like, yes, she did a lot of horrible things that nobody's proud of in the conversation. But at the end of the conversation, I held my boundaries.
Sorry, hold on.
I don't even want to say
But
rise.
she did.
Probably no, she
But
didn't.
she eventually did.
After crying in another room and trying
Yes,
to
no,
manipulate you,
like, yes, if you want to, like, yes, she did a lot of horrible things that
Bro, she did a lot of horrible things.
nobody's proud of in the conversation.
I don't know if he's
Yes, he does. He knows. He knows that Mr. Girl is making a joke here. They're both laughing. So he's gonna say, "I don't know if he's joking." Yeah, you fucking do.
joking or not. I don't know if he's serious about that. Maybe he's like mocking himself. I don't know if either he's
This
aware
is-
that he was the one doing.
Exhibit A through Z here. This guy is bad faith as fuck. Okay, I'm finally here. Where's the all chat here? You're in it, buddy. Mr. Girl is not a piece of shit in this discussion. He's arguing for his side. Mr. Girl wants her to argue what she wants. Destiny's arguing with what it looks like, not what matters. Yeah. So I felt like he wasn't laughing at her crying, just at how the situation escalated. It's like part of, God, there's a lot for me to say here. Part of it is that she's crying. I think it just adds to that emotion of like, wow, okay, I guess. Like that kind of feeling. I don't really have words for it. But yeah, it's just like the whole thing. It's just like, I think like when I've been at that point, I'm like, this is just fucking crazy to me. Like, what the fuck is happening? Like, you just like part of your brain's melting down, and you laugh. Yeah, Big C, you nailed it. This is one of the things that I have consistently argued for, and really, something I haven't thought about in a while, which is really good that I'm rewatching these things, is that when they had this conversation, I think that what Mr. Girl doesn't want to admit, he can't admit to this because it would damage the fact that he did it. But my very first viewing of it, and every other time I've watched the doll review, I have always understood that he is doing something he doesn't want to do for her. He is fighting with her to get her to have her voice because she's not using it. He wants her to assert herself. And it is good for him if she does that, but it's a lot more good for her if she does it. He is abdicating for her when she's not doing it for herself. And I remember when I watched this video for the first time now, I remember going like, oh, he can't say that to Destiny. If he says that to Destiny, then it sullies what he did for her. Because if she knows that's what he's doing, then it doesn't work. He was, honestly, it was the most caretaking thing he possibly could have done. And to me, probably his greatest demonstration of being empathetic. He was not letting her get away with letting him decide some of these things. So no. Basically saying like, look, none of this shit's gonna happen unless you know how you feel about it. You need to be able to do this. And I thought it was really, really good. And I've talked to psychologists about this too, and they agreed with me. The psychologist that I talked to loved everything that I laid out, like basically frame for frame of this without like adding my feelings about it, and they loved it. How does no one see the genius in this discussion? Mr. Girl was on point, and Destiny walked in the park of Mr. Girl's mind. Fucking pure genius. I miss this so much. Yeah. I still don't know if anything Mr. Girl ever does will match just how good the doll review was. It's something that's not extremely apparent on the first watch. And I'm glad that I'm not the only one who gets that. Remember, I came into Discord because Mr. Girl here was with Destiny.
really horrible things in that situation.
Oh wait, did I? Well, at Marie, I agree, especially realizing how artificially constructed they could be. Oh, I see more of situations like Boogie and Chris Chan. the more I see of situations like Boogie and Christian, the more I find will call content morally wrong. Uh, yeah, I think that sometimes will calling is fine. Like, even if like I personally am bothered by it, like when people have like lolcowed, like Will, or like if they try to do it to like somebody that like I care about, that'll bother me. But like depending on the circumstances, it might be fine. But if it's somebody that like Chris Chan, or from what I understand about Boogie, it seems like this is really bad. When there are people that like legitimately have mental health issues, and you're using that to uh like actually profit off of, this is fucked up and shitty. You shouldn't do it. You should watch the Fuentes arguments. Destiny was scrambling. So it's funny. I actually did watch them right after they happened, and YouTube for whatever reason never like let it post, and I can't download it from YouTube, and I can't set it to live, but it's like on my YouTube. And then right after it, I hopped into Will's Discord and argued with like four other people because they were all wrong about that too. When I seen Mr. Girl and Destiny, still, I mean, still to this day, I'm still like a fan of Destiny's content. I'm much less of a fan of him as a person, but I was like still peaking my fandom of Destiny when it happened. I had COVID, and I said to my wife, because I was like fully paying attention to it, and she was just like background for her. I've never seen Destiny lose an argument like this before, ever. This is the worst I've ever seen Destiny do in a debate. Like, period. It's never been this bad. So yeah, I will get to that too. I've been going over a lot of Mr. Girl Destiny content to like redo my brain for the video. I just gotta try to remember some of this stuff because it's been so long. Um, and it's been doing a pretty good job of it. I can't see it the same way as I saw it then, but because I know it's like too much like things that happen afterwards. But this has been good. So I'm gonna keep rolling through all the Mr. Girl Destiny stuff until I clear it up, and then I have like my thoughts really well organized, and I can reference it when I'm working on the video. I promise that no one that uh, I promise there is no one that has as much time watching Destiny. Yeah, I know. I never watched the doll review. I watched one part though. It seemed like the best clip, the disassembly part, and put the video on reverse. Wait, you never watched the doll review? I don't think I believe you.
Or he
That
legitimately
that'd be
and like
hard to
he's joking
believe.
about it, or he is talking about how she actually did like horrible things. Either way, like he knows he's in the wrong, so I don't really understand why. Like I don't really get it. He knows he's in the wrong regardless. So his whole fucking perspective is insane. Fuck.
But at the end of the conversation, I held my boundaries. I didn't rush to the other room and say, "Hey, eventually."
I held my boundaries. Like he's such a fucking victim. He held the boundaries. Like what?
I can't see any criticism that could be lodged at Mr. Girl that isn't equally applicable to Shaylin in terms of boundary pushing and holding from the doll review. People just don't value Mr. Girl's boundaries. Yeah, I watch Destiny almost every day. I have to turn it off when he talks about Mr. Girl, Lav, Anna, Brittany. I get angry. Dude, do you see when the Brittany, when he was like, I'm done with Brittany, and like Melina tried to like come in and like mom him to calm him down, and like people were calling in to like try to calm him down and shit. That was bonkers unhinged shit. I bet I have 60 hours of just talking to Elder about Mr. Girl and Destiny one-on-one. If not, it's pretty close. It's probably pretty close to that. Yeah. Um, I think that if you ever want to get a good understanding of Destiny's flaws, watching the Britney uh like bridge burning meltdown stream, whatever the fuck you want to call it, where the one where he says he's never talking to her again, that is that's like that's like the primary video you should watch, because it is like he just devolves into an absolute fucking child about it. It's so crazy to me. Like I've never watched Destiny before and be like, oh, this is embarrassing. Up until that point, even like I said, he lost that debate to Mr. Girl big time. I think about Fuentes, and I think Destiny's like outmaneuvered Mr. Girl in several conversations. Not like I think that Mr. Girl is just always right or anything like that. Um, but so like I'm not trying to imply this at all. But uh, Destiny was just it would be like if I argued with my wife and I started screaming and crying and throwing a fit. Like that's how it felt like that's what I was watching. It was just fucking bad. It was bad. Uh so I know you say you can't watch when he talks about it, but like it's not a it's not a it's not a bad one to watch if you want to see that side of Destiny.
What are you talking about? You forced her to go beyond her boundaries through like a way where she's not comfortable with it at all.
She, was naked, face down on the bed, just like I asked.
But I don't. If you were to ask her, does she think that there was a positive resolution to everything? Do you think she would say yes?
No, because I got what I want. I don't know what she would say.
Is there? Well, but isn't that
And I
like
feel so
important?
happy.
If you
No,
were to
I'm so
really-
happy that I don't know what she would say. I feel so proud of myself that I can have my own narrative of what happened
Christ.
that is not dependent on hers, and she can have her own narrative.
Okay.
That's what I want. What I want is to just like have something be for me.
Sure.
And the only way we can do that is if Shaylin delineates when something is for her. So she has to be more explicit about when something is for her and what role she wants me to play and what role she wants to play. And the more vague she is, the more power the underhanded person gets and the less power the explicit person gets. I don't want her to derive power from being vague. It's a super bad idea, especially around sex.
I
But in
agree
general,
that it's a bad idea, but the problem isn't that she's like intentionally trying to
You think
manipulate
she's
you.
not capable of anything? Well, she's going to have
Not
to,
right now. No, I don't think. I think that there's like a set of tools that she hasn't developed yet when it comes to establishing.
It's so interesting because Destiny is probably the biggest pusher of like we have to stop treating women like they're dumb babies, right? Like when it
Yeah,
comes to
it is
conversations of sexual
interesting,
assault. Like,
isn't
women can
it?
still affirm boundaries, and I tend to agree with it.
Thank you, Al.
But it sounds like Mr. Girl has taken that and he's weaponized it.
Yeah, his aversion to criticism is outstanding. Couple that with his willingness to completely burn a bridge and smear that person. It's the smearing I can't stand. Yeah, so when Destiny does this, the thing that makes it like actually deplorable when that kind of thing happens is that there is no new information that he has about this person other than he doesn't want to have anything to do with them. So like so there might be the piece of information that he gets that he says, okay, I don't want to interact with this person anymore. But he will then change his whole understanding of previous events then and reframe them to his audience in a way that makes the other person look bad. That's crazy to me because it is exceptionally dishonest. He did it with Mr. Girl and I called him out for it and I argued with him about it. And he did that so hardcore with Brittany. Like you can actually see him in that one like doing mental gymnastics so that he can justify the crazy shit he's going to say about her. It's wild.
Like he takes these fundamental arguments like, yeah, sometimes like women can affirm boundaries. There are situations where they can feel unsafe and absolutely 100%, but women do need to affirm boundaries, and that's Destiny's basic idea. And it seems like Mr. Girl has taken that and he's run with it in a way where like, it becomes like where he's using it as an excuse to not care at
the Destiny Mr. Girl breakup was like my parents getting divorced and I'm 54. I feel that, dude. That shit was the worst because like even if you hate Mr. Girl, I bet you if you watch Destiny, I know that you knew that was the best content that Destiny had put out maybe ever. It was peak content. Yeah, he has convinced DGG that Brittany's obsessed with him. That's actually crazy. Okay.
all about women. Like it's just like this is literally what people warned like
DGG says a lot that they miss Mr. Girl. If you watch the chat,
Destiny about of like actual fucking like pieces of shit weaponizing what he's trying to say.
this is what Destiny does best. He talks to people who don't agree with him, whether it be debate, whether it be this kind of a conversation. this is where he truly shines, is having somebody who doesn't agree with him, who can be somewhat regular. And it's never been this good, in my opinion. I don't like Brittany Simon, but yep, Destiny was totally wrong in their conflict. He just decided to block her and move on, not even trying to resolve it. It's an incredible time now, Mr. Girl's in the shadows. I miss the dude. There's 100 times the convo in this real voice discussion. I refuse to bother to say text much. Papa keeps trying to pull back from his statements. What is it? Oh, yeah, Emery. I want to say 100%, but it's even more than that. It's just so... I don't know what the other word... It's like impressively childish the way he behaved about it. Because, like, I understand sometimes as adults, we're all going to get childish about some things sometimes. That's fine. But that was, like, gloriously. It was wild.
And, you know, using that to fucking, like, hurt people, which is basically what's happening. I wholly agree. I wholly believe that.
Boundaries, and because of that, you're able to take advantage of her inability to do that. I think that's the issue.
thought you think she's taking advantage of me.
No, because in this situation, you said you got what you wanted at the end, so she wasn't here.
Yeah, after hours of what
Papa Gut, I would absolutely debate Papa Gut. But I don't think that it would be productive, and I would, because of the reasons I said earlier, I don't know if you're here, I just think that this guy can't engage it with anything in good faith. But if he wanted to, I think that it would be apparent to anybody who's watching that's what was happening. Because if he really believes and stands by this video, that's fucking crazy to me. In my humble opinion, Destiny cares about some people a lot. Then he subconsciously pushes them away to be safe from him. Steven. I can't pretend to know everything that goes on in Destiny's mind, especially when it comes to the people that he interacts with. But I will say this. I've never seen Destiny try as hard for anybody else as with Mr. Girl. Destiny put real effort into their friendship. And I've not, like, most people have been bridge burned for much less. I'll even say too that I think that Destiny just legitimately felt betrayed by the whole article thing, and that's why it ended, because he really he proved that he cared about his relationship with Mr. Girl. Now, I'm not drawing anything else but that, but I firmly do believe that. I think it's abusive to be so willing to burn bridges. Makes everyone around you walk on eggshells. It is when you have that kind of power. And I rarely take the stance of, like, streamers having power, making them more abusive. Because I think it's often a lot more nuanced than that. But it's like if you're, I'm going to use the boss analogy, but it's only like, I'm not saying the Destiny's people's bosses. I'd have to think about that analogy more. But it's like if you're the boss of a place and you go around firing people for super small stuff, yeah, it's gonna freak everybody else out, and they're not gonna know how to behave around them. They're gonna be walking on eggshells. It's that kind of energy that you're putting out there, and the way that it affects people. That because Mr. Girl didn't care about the optics, right? Mr. Girl would rather say something in a funnier way than a way that's going to be more broadly communicative to everybody, even if doing that is going to lead some people to believe really bad things about him. But that's what made him great. That's what makes him great.
I think is abusive and coercive behavior. Eventually, she was able to have a explicit, direct conversation with
Who is, like, her being abusive? And I don't think he thinks he was being abusive. He was, and coercive. Is, like, what? I don't under. Oh, Jesus Christ! What commentary could I give it anymore? Like, this is fucking insane.
Now, I'm not saying she has to be perfect.
He says, "What commentary could I give anymore?" I feel like he just stopped himself, because all he was going to do is just say, like, no, none of that's true. I know exactly what's happening here. Yeah, what else could you possibly say when everything that's said is going to be pure conjecture based on literally fucking nothing, and just like name calling? That's basically all this guy's done. In the most recent lab arc, he has her back on Kick or Keep, which makes me personally frustrated because she's just going back into the sphere that made her miserable. But Mr. Girl is not her dad. I'll get to that in a minute. I read the Destiny did go to the ragged end with his conversation with Mr. Girl. He allowed Mr. Girl time and space to have all of his arguments and his looping. Yeah, part of the Mr. Girl mission was desanitizing the internet. This is insane, lol. Such a Chud Logic thing to say. Wait, which thing? Mr. Girl's 1000 times Andy Warhol and Maplethorpe? Not any kind of stream tard, not gonna lie. Mr. Girl didn't care if everyone understood him. Destiny wanted everyone to understand his narrative. Yeah. Destiny, it was like when Mr. Girl would come on, if they weren't like arguing with each other. Oh. If they weren't arguing with each other, Destiny would just kind of like hand Mr. Girl the mic, and then he would interpret for the people that didn't quite get it. Fairly well. But I guess it was a little bit more than that. I don't think that he needed... Mr. Girl didn't need somebody to be the interpreter at all. Destiny actually didn't interpret for Mr. Girl. He kind of did, but what he actually was doing was saying, hey guys, it's okay to look past how that's going to sound, or how that sounded, and interpret it in good faith. He gave people permission to listen to Mr. Girl and what he had to say. That was what Destiny did a lot. And I think Mr. Girl was right to be like super grateful for that, because most people aren't going to stick their neck out for that. And like I said, I think Destiny really worked very hard at their friendship, especially if you look at how he treats other people. Destiny, in my opinion, correctly identified that Mr. Girl had a really unique and special voice, and it was worth handing that microphone over and giving people the permission to listen to him in good faith. Look how hard Destiny is thinking in the shot. Everyone here in chat is right.
I am okay with her reaching for these dark side tools.
Permission
And me having to say, like, hey, I need you to stop doing that. And I'm okay with people thinking I'm a bad person. Well, I would rather they didn't. But I can withstand people thinking I'm a bad person.
Well, you are a bad person.
Or that I'm an abuser, because I don't
Oh
want
my
to
God.
engage with somebody using these manipulation tactics on me.
This is incredible.
But eventually, if I hold my ground long enough, eventually
she'll break down. She'll lose the ability to advocate for her own interests, and she'll acquiesce to whatever your demands are. Does that sound a little bit not good?
No, because my demand is just that she come up with an answer. I'm not asking her to acquiesce to my sex demands.
But that's what it feels like to her. That's why she's saying.
No, it's not. That's where you're wrong.
But
About
she was
it.
literally saying, she's saying, you're pressuring me, and you're like, how am I pressuring you? She says you're.
This is what they just said there. This is exactly the Nick Fuentes disagreement. There is no difference between this misunderstanding right here and the Nick Fuentes disagreement. Every fucking person, save for Big C, who's in chat, has always disagreed with me about what that debate was about. Every single time, every single person always says, even Will and the people in his Discord, when I had that conversation about it, has always said, Mr. Girl wanted Destiny to call Nick Fuentes a Nazi. No, the fuck he didn't. He wanted him to say if he was or was not. That's it. Destiny was saying both, and he said, pick one. Just fucking pick one. And when Destiny said, well, how do you define Nazi? All that shit was obfuscation, too. It was all obfuscation, because Mr. Girl even said, too, you can go ahead and define Nazi. You pick the definition. And then tell me if he is one. Yes, he wanted him to be he wanted him to be consistent when he's being public about whether Fuentes is or is not a Nazi. That's it. He just wanted consistency. Sfaxon, if you and I talked about that, I just didn't remember. No, that's my bad. And he had good reasoning for that. He never once thought about he never did anything to try to get Destiny to call him a Nazi. Ever, ever, ever. He just wanted him to pick it. That's it. And right now, Destiny's telling Mr. Girl, you wanted her to do this thing. He said, no, I just wanted her to choose and to just make that decision. That's it.
Trying to
it's
pressure
the
me into
same
doing what you want me to do.
argument.
That's what she's saying. I wrote the quote down. But you're not really, right? You said you'd be happy with either answer, but she doesn't feel that way. That's the issue.
I understand.
Well, it's because he's lying. He wouldn't be happy with either answer. He's just saying that's because he knows that's what you want to hear. That's the whole thing.
I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
When she says that, it's not true.
Right? Okay.
It's just not true.
Sure,
Girl, I would fucking kill myself.
he would be happier. Oh shit! I just skipped. Oh no. Could somebody do me a huge favor and just rewind the stream a little bit to tell me where I skipped from? I was just trying to pause it. I would be so grateful. Destiny did the same thing with John Tron. He just wanted John to take a stand. Destiny. I'll say this. Destiny worked just as hard, if not harder, to the JonTron to try to say like he tried so hard to save that guy, dude. Oh my god. He's like, wait, obviously you don't mean this, and he's like, nah, dude, I'm fucking racist, bro. Why don't you get that? And Destiny's like, well, you don't actually mean like you're. He's like, dog, I fucking hate him. I hate him so goddamn much. Like that was crazy. Thank you. I really, really appreciate it. 111, 21. Bless you, Big C.
And she's saying, you're pressuring me. And you're like, how am I
That's-
pressuring you? She says, you're
that's- I-
trying to
I
pressure me into doing what you want me to do. That's what she's saying. I wrote the quote down. But
I
you're not really,
understand.
right? You said you'd be happy with either answer, but she doesn't feel that way. That's the issue.
I understand.
Well, it's because he's lying. He wouldn't be happy with either answer. He's just saying that's because he knows that's what you want to hear. That's the whole thing.
Oh
I get what
yeah.
you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
When she said
He'd certainly be happier with one answer more than the other one, but he would ultimately be just really happy that she's exercising that agency. And this guy's just sitting over here like, no, he only wanted the one thing.
says that, it's not true.
Like, why are you watching this and going like, why is he reacting to this if he's gonna put like literally no fucking thought into it whatsoever? It's so crazy. Mr.
Okay.
Girl flipped
It's
the
just not
script on
true.
Destiny.
I
So
think
she
we're
doesn't
lying.
feel pressured at all. She's lying about that.
She may think she feels pressured.
Okay, so she's lying to herself
But if
about it.
you look at her behavior through the conversation,
So what's interesting is that he's constantly saying that Destiny thinks that girls are like too dumb or whatever. But like he thinks that she's too dumb. She's like, well, no, that's not what she's actually saying. Like she's too stupid to interpret her own emotions. Is that like what you're saying here? This is fucking incredible.
the thing that makes her freak out is me saying, I think you're being controlling. I think you're being abusive. And
What's the implication here? I don't understand. He's pointing out that Destiny usually doesn't hold this position. Is he saying that, like, so obviously Shaylin's the exception, or what? Very weird. Mr. Girl is having great difficulty now finding people to speak with since he's not willing to compromise to save face of the person. He doesn't have enough audience to make it worthwhile for them. Yeah, it sucks. He has gotten some big pulls. They just haven't lasted that long. The last guy that left was I think he was like pretty, like, wasn't he like a pretty big deal to get? I can't remember if it was the New York Times or the New Yorker. I'm just don't remember. But he was like the editor. He did leave pretty quick, but it was funny while it was happening. When was this VOD put out? I think it was like a year ago. Let me see. Yeah, a year ago. I don't know how I missed this. But I just don't know who Papa's gut is. F me, Max won't fucking talk with me.
and I need you to be explicit.
Yeah, he was a
Yeah, because
big
you're
deal. It was
gaslighting her.
hilarious.
You're
It
being
was really
controlling and
good.
abusive, and then you're gaslighting her. That, of course, people are going to get upset by that. Like, is that a hot take to you? I don't fucking get it. Well,
About what you are saying. I need you to either explicitly say yes, explicitly say no, explicitly say you want to have this conversation, explicitly say you don't want to have this conversation.
Why do you think she's...
I even went as far as telling her exactly what she could say word for word to get out of the conversation.
Sure. When you said that she was upset, and that because you said that she was being controlling and abusive, why did that make her more upset? Why did she get really upset about that?
Because I'm taking her power away. When you call an abusive person abusive, you are
So
demanding a transfer of
sure.
power.
Oh, yeah, let's
from them to
rephrase
you.
that a little bit more. Okay, taking it. So you're making...
Okay, then I was right about why. Can you clarify that for me, Big C? Oh, I see. You're saying because he wants to have Big Mr. Girl on his show. Okay, I got you. Dude, that would be like the worst thing for this guy. Mr. Grill would just destroy, because he'd go into this just like talking all kinds of mad shit, thinking he's gonna make him look bad. But Mr. Grill's completely fucking immune to people being like that. And this guy doesn't seem to have any ability to think. He has not demonstrated his ability to observe, process, and then output based on what he's observed at all. It would be very embarrassing for him, I think.
making her feel powerless.
And like, oh, good. Look at that little laugh there. He seems like he's like quite proud of himself for this. So like, I just think that that's why I think he would be embarrassed by
Interaction,
it.
right?
Oh, it's a shame that people don't react to his conversations with experts. Some were very interesting. I've been considering it a lot. It's a shame. Oh yeah. Why did Book Farts have Mr. Girl on his channel? He had him on his channel to do the same conversation he had with Destiny, where he's like, "Hey, you're not saying anything wrong, but you're saying it the wrong way. I want you to say it this way." And Mr. Girl's like, "I'm not gonna do that. No, I'm gonna say it my way." And Booksmart's just trying like super hard to get him to do that. That was like I think that was the reason. It would just turn into an argument. The argument Bo Blacks had with Mr. Girl, where Bo Blacks started screaming. Oh man, good times. If you're not leaving, I'll get up in voice. I'm just waiting for her to answer. She was supposed to let me know what was going on, but actually I should text her and see. So initially she was supposed to get at 5, but at almost 4 she said, "I'm not done yet, but I'll keep you posted." But it's like an hour and a half later. She probably should be getting with me on this. I know Bookie's dealio too.
Right.
Yeah, because a lot of
somebody
stealing
claims
power,
that you're
a lot of-
pressuring them, and now you are depriving them of any power or agency in interaction. Of course.
No.
they have an emotional-
I can understand that could be her feeling.
This
If
is
the only
That's
way,
all that matters at the end of the day is how she feels.
if the
about
only
it,
way,
right?
Oh, really quickly, I'm gonna rewind this a little bit because I paused to talk for so long I forgot. If you guys are watching on YouTube, if it's not too much to ask, it's totally free. If you guys could follow me on Kick, if you have a Kick, if you don't worry about it. But Kick has been like pretty good at bringing in viewers. Oh, I just looked now and like there's none. I think Sfaxon's watching on Kick, but like I had like double digits earlier on Kick. Like they've been pretty cool with like putting me up in a. Oh, why did it auto tag that? Oh God. They've been pretty good at like pushing my thing. Jesus Christ. It saw the shitty balloon game he's playing, and it tagged my stream as though I'm playing that. So right as I'm saying that they're doing really good at pushing me to get people to watch, I noticed that they're doing that. It's Balloons 2D6, I guess, or TD6. But yeah, if you have a Kick, if you could follow me on Kick, that'd be super cool. I'll continue watching this now. I just wanted to say that, and I got caught up by Kick tagging my stream as a Balloons TD6 stream.
word for word to get out of the conversation.
Although, that's pretty impressive technology, though.
Sure. When you said that she was upset, and that because you said that she was being controlling and abusive, why did that make her more upset? Why did she get really upset about that?
Because I'm taking her power away. When you call an abusive person abusive, you are
So
demanding a transfer
sure.
of power.
Yeah, let's
from them to
rephrase
you.
that a little bit more. Okay, taking her. So you're making her feel powerless in this interaction, right?
Yeah, because a lot of
Somebody
feeling
claims
power,
that you're
a lot of-
pressuring them, and now you are depriving them of any power or agency in an interaction. Of course.
No,
they're
no,
gonna
no,
have
no.
emotions.
That's not. I can understand that could be her feeling.
This
If
is
the only
That's
way
all that
you can
matters at
ex-
the end of the day is how she feels.
if the
about
only
it,
way
right?
if the only way you can express yourself is by throwing dishes at Melina, and then Melina says stop throwing dishes at me, you may feel
On kick setup, you're the tipping. Sfaxon, okay, Sfaxon, but why are we on this rock? It's not easy to have an argument with Mr. Girl. I think only a few people have been able to coherently dismantle Max's arguments, Destiny included. Not to toot my own horn, I think I did really good on the ADHD one. Other than that, the veganism one, I think rhetorically may not have been that good, but I think I accomplished what I tried to accomplish there. And I thought the conversation I had with him with Mr. Beast was pretty good. But he actually was the one that what's the word that you said? He dismantled his own argument. He broke it down. Or sorry, he didn't dismantle it. He broke down his own argument to make it way more understanding. So I actually got a good understanding of it from him. Was like, okay, I just disagree with you. But I can't really argue you out of that position. What makes it difficult is that the process feels much more, is that his thought process feels much more thought out in the moment and sincere, so you get thrown through a loop for certain disagreements. Big C, you just sang just facts and soul there. I don't know. I think I usually have a pretty good understanding of what his arguments are, and or at least I know how to like ask the right questions to get them. But a lot of times they're even if I disagree, like they're pretty sound. They might not be like the best or like valid arguments per se, but they're pretty fucking sound, like interconsistent within itself.
oh well, now you've rendered me entirely powerless because I can't talk about my feelings, I can't set boundaries, I can't negotiate with you, I can't be direct. All I have is this like plate of like spaghetti I was about to throw at you. Like, yeah.
On kick, set up the tipping when and if you get the rev level. Oh, sure.
I guess in a way she would be telling you have no power, but I think that's not a fair interpretation.
Yeah, but
I'm fucking flabbergasted. So, like, bro, I don't even know how to respond to that. Holy fuck.
But imagine if throwing dishes was the only tool that I had. Now it sounds like a weird example.
Then
But
you have to-
here's
then
a
you have to
question.
learn-
Sure, here's a
you have to
question.
learn
Let's say
another way to get power.
let's say the only way I could get anything done is by screaming at people, right?
Yeah, and so eventually you may run into a partner who says like, I need you to stop screaming at me. And
Sure.
if that's the only way you have of advocating for yourself.
But if we have
you're not going to be able to advocate.
Oh shit.
you work around
Shaylin
that,
is
right?
not my child.
She's
That's
not,
application.
but if she doesn't have the tools necessary to firmly establish a boundary and then talk around it, then all you're kind of doing is like taking away the only. Like,
I'm trying to process and see, is he saying that, like, is he defending the person throwing the plate? Is that where his defensible position is? That's what I'm trying to understand here. Okay.
you're duct taping a baby's mouth shut and saying, figure out another way to do this.
I'm not duct taping a baby's mouth shut by asking my adult girlfriend to learn how to set boundaries like a fucking normal.
If you want her to
well-adjusted
learn
adult.
how to set boundaries, then you don't figure that out in the middle of a negotiation about things that the boundaries would be about.
So what are you suggesting I do? I say like you're asking me to drop my boundaries, and I don't want to.
I'm saying send her to
Absolutely,
therapy or something. Say go to
okay,
therapy.
but in the meantime,
Yeah.
yes, we're starting couples therapy.
Cool.
In the meantime, you're suggesting I just drop. I'm saying she was breaking my boundaries in the conversation repeatedly. That every time we hit a snag, it's because I'm saying I don't want to communicate this way. and I won't.
You can't aggressively assert a boundary like that and say that my boundary is that when we're discussing something that I want, you're not allowed to obfuscate with questions. That's not a
No,
boundary.
that's
You're
not-
like you
that's
have
not
like
the
a force
boundary.
field that's
That's
going
not
into their brain.
Let's see. I don't think his ADHD arguments were sound. Gravity would have been a good answer to Sfaxon. For instance, arguing with him about why he's not Lav's dad is hard only in part because he sincerely believes he is her parent. Well, that he is acting in that kind of a role, yeah. You can make this argument, no, you're just not because she set up a boundary here. But in his head, it doesn't seem to matter to him. That's the role he chose to self-identify with the relationship. It's I think there's like a whole ass conversation to be had about that. Your conversation with him. Remember when Destiny said that women can't say something during sex? That's rich.
Okay.
No,
That's
no, 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 no. That's not the boundary. She can do that, but I am going to then derail the conversation and only talk about it until she stops. So I'm saying I won't participate in the conversation. I won't participate in a conversation where you're saying, I don't know if I want to be talking about this. I'm not sure. That is going to break the negotiation. Then stops. There was no more talk about sex after that. Then the only conversation we can have is, well, are you in the conversation? Or are you out? Or are you making a power play by having one foot out the door? And if it's that one, that's all we're going to talk about for the
Why
rest of
do
the
you- it
conversation. I
feels like
refuse
you-
to budge. Wait, stop. You
Okay.
agree? You admit that this is me setting a boundary. I'm not reaching into her brain. I'm just saying I'm going to flail and not fucking move an inch until
Ooh.
you
I just
stop
don't.
doing
It
this.
feels like you're the one that's more.
So he's basically saying he's going to throw a temper tantrum until he gets what he wants. I think that's the exact way that I'm interpreting this. This is really impressive stuff, Max. I don't know how, but my thing here is that like what
He doesn't sincerely think he's her dad. He wants to be unconditional support. She can't decide how supportive he is willing to be. Yes. Why is everyone who hates Mr. Girl unlikable? I think it's the bad faith. 293 per single text line of my time. Wait, I just want to be sure. Sfaxon, you didn't donate on YouTube, right? That's not what you're saying. I don't think it is, but 584 per minute. I don't know if the thing I'm using for chat would tell me if somebody did. But I'm gonna look into how to do it on Kick.
bothers me the most is that his confidence to admit.
The problem is self-inserting your role as the parental figure when the other person doesn't want that and doesn't see you like the ultimate. It feels like it's crossing a boundaries. Shit. Emery, if you want to talk to me about it sometime, we can. I was about to start saying stuff about it, but I'll get way too far off track. But I think there's an interesting conversation to be had about that. I get a happy ending for Les Faxon.
Admit this, like he thinks that he's correct. I think that's the most fucking insane part here, is that he thinks he has a defensible position. Like he actually thinks that he's right. That's the part that's like the most mind blowing to me. I think more than anything else.
I see.
Let me get this like right in here.
Emotionally composed in this situation, and the other person is flailing, and every time they're trying to, like, they're like sliding off a mountain trying to grab a ledge, and every time they grab something, you're like, that's abuse, that's controlling, you're gaslighting, and it's like the other person isn't trying to do that, they're just trying to get their footing
But that's
somewhere.
that's how all abusers feel.
She's not the abuser in this interaction. You're the one making the ask.
She is the abuser.
I think that you're the one making the ask for something that's.
Just call him an abuser. He's the abuser here. Just tell him he's the fucking abusive. Like even if you want to be a nice boy and be like, you're not an abuser, but you.
Okay, so update. My wife said she just got done. I don't know if I have to get her or not. I asked her if I do, I'm gonna end stream, but I'll kick it back on. Say the long end. We might have to go to the grocery store. I'd say probably an hour-ish after, because I think I have to go to the grocery store after picking her up. But it shouldn't take that long. I am gonna come right back to it though. I'm trying to I know I haven't streamed in a while, and I'm trying to stream more, and this video has brought up some interesting stuff, so I really want to get through it. Oh yeah, it does look like it is him going over the whole time. Jesus. So as soon as she answers me, I'll let you guys know. Can you put a link to your Discord server in the chat? Oh yeah. You know, I used to do that all the time. My stream deck's fucky right now. I don't know what the deal is. Oh, actually, I stopped doing it because, for a while there, I got, like, reverse doxed. Some kids in my kid's school were in my Discord server, and, like, watching my stream and, like, fucking with my kid about the stuff that I stream with. It was, like, really weird. And so I had to, like, purge them and had to be, like, a lot more, like, vigilant about who I was letting in. I think I have it set up to where not everybody can join now. Let's see. Uh, or I tried to and I couldn't figure out how. Yeah, I think I tried to and I couldn't figure out how, but basically, yeah, I have a kid. Just the one. Um, oh, I do have to get her. Okay. She had a ride, but they, like, I guess, all the doctors left early. So, my wife's just been there, like, with, like, almost nothing to do. And he knows that he just didn't let you get in there in the discussion. Yeah, so if you guys want to join the Discord, please feel free to join my Discord. Emery, it's nice to see you in there. Yeah, I promise that I'll be back to do some more of this. I appreciate you guys showing up and watching. This has been fun. I really like there's a lot of engagement on this one. It's been pretty cool. Elk, I thought that by the end, but I could see why you suggested I did. It was a hard convo. I went in there knowing that. Have a good one. Thanks. Like I said, I will be back. Like if it's like an hour-ish, it won't be much more than that. My wife's not that far away, but hopefully I'm not gone too long for you guys to forget about the one coming up. I wanted this to just all be like one thing, but sometimes things come up. I'm gonna tell her I'm coming to get her. So yeah, that. Catch you later. All right, hopefully catch you guys shortly. Take it easy. I'm just gonna boop. Oh yeah, and just in case if you can't make it back, but you were wondering what video this is his video. I don't fucking like this guy, but I'm also not gonna just stream his shit and not like at least link his video. I have standards. Normally if it's like people like Wick or whatever, I'm not gonna do it because you guys know who Wick is. I'm gonna re-listen to my convo with him. Maybe I missed something. Maybe when you're live can sure. If I have time at the end of it, end of this one, the second one, I can talk to you about it then too. All right, I'm out of here for now.